nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
We're losing our democracy!
More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Wake up!
Before we get into that, let's get into this. Fuck it, I don't know if the fucking video clip ended or not. Anyway, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Liberty Bowl. It is, of course, live stream Friday. As we do every Friday here, we come together to talk about the latest in news, politics, the fall of Western civilization as we know it, and everything else that just got everybody riled up. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, sir?
Damn fine, dealing with the heat, man. I'm sure you are too. But other than that, good times all around, right?
Right. Fucking
It's always
living,
a
man.
show
Well, at least
out
for a
here.
little while, because as you guys see from the title, it's nuclear war, right? Absolutely. Everybody fucking panic, right? Get under your desks right now. The nukes are incoming. You're going to need that fucking bit of particle board to save you, in case the roof caves in on you. That's definitely going to help you. But anyway, we got a whole bunch of news going on this week. Of course, this was a busy week. Started out rather violent. Lots of stabbings, attacks, shootings, gang violence. People throwing feces in the streets. All that stuff. Nazi propaganda, corruption, all kinds of stuff. But of course, we're going to be starting out with the news du jour. That means the day in those Frenchy words. But apparently, Donald Trump has moved 2 nuclear subs in response to some words that were said by the former president of Russia. Right? You guys should be terrified. You should be terrified because this is absolutely an escalation, right? Because normally, whenever these other countries try to rattle sabers at us, we don't rattle back. That's really all that this is, right? It's not beat around the bush. There's no nuclear war going on. Don't everybody start panicking. Nobody's gonna die, right? Clickbait. But either way, it's an escalation that we don't normally do from the side of the United States, and the reason for that is because they're all fucking pussies. They don't have that same sort of oomph when it comes to geopolitical negotiations as Donald Trump does. So, of course, former president of Russia says a couple, hostile words. Let me actually look it up right here. So it says Medvedev on Thursday said Trump should remember that Moscow possessed Soviet-era nuclear strike capabilities of last resort after Trump had told Medvedev to, quote, watch his words. Right. So, of course, after that whole exchange of words went down, now Donald Trump has repositioned 2 nuclear subs. Of course, we'd have no idea where they were positioned or where they've been positioned to or what they have on them. We don't have anything. All that we have is 2 nuclear subs have been ordered to move somewhere. Right. Again, just pure saber rattling. But what's your thoughts on the whole thing? This is obviously in response to some frustrations going on between the whole, Russia-Ukraine thing. What's your thoughts on the whole situation, man?
Like he said, it's saber rattling. It's pressure. Like Trump said, man, this is Biden's war. I'm just here to see if I can end it. And then, like you said, it's, we're commies. We're still here, but I'm sure we still have those same commie alert systems that were put in place, by El Reagan, mainly the Star Wars program, which broke Russia to begin with in the Cold War, trying to compete. But yet here they are rattling those same fucking 40-year-old weapons, right?
Right.
Obviously you don't want to get too cocky. Everybody can die, but I seriously doubt. I mean, this whole time we've heard us speak on here about the Ukraine war, and we've always made a joke about like Russia hasn't even begun to fight, like the most nuclear armed country, yada yada. And granted, Ukraine's been propped up by the West, obviously, right? Weapons, and money, so on and so forth. But from what Trump says, just since January, Russia's lost over 100,000 troops, where Ukraine's lost 8,000. I mean, it seems like they may be struggling a little more than a lot of us assume. So, right? It seemed like it was the left that was always, Russia's finished, Ukraine's winning this war. And I still don't believe that Ukraine's winning the war or anything. But
Right.
obviously, Russia's took some serious damage, and even as far as civilian casualties.
Especially seeing as the left has never actually defined what winning the war actually means.
Right. And no one really has, except for Trump, which is just stop the killing, right? But
Right.
so obviously I think that they wouldn't have the time that they believe if it was really come fuck with Uncle Sam time. You know what I mean?
Right.
And especially Trump right now would have all the reason in the world, to push that, one, to distance himself more from the whole propaganda spiel that they're trying to get out now, and then also for a little bit of united fucking states. I mean, you think about the last time the country was united, it was 9/11.
Right. Yep. So yeah, of course you always got to have that boogeyman, man. Russia's always kind of been that for us. So I mean, it's nice to see that things are kind of staying the course. You know what I mean? But it's kind of funny. They're over here thinking, oh, we still have Soviet era missiles from back in the Cold War days and stuff. Like, Donald Trump's like, I don't know. Are you threatening me or are you asking for a handout? Like, do you guys need? Like, you guys haven't upgraded since back in that. What are you asking me right now? Like, we could definitely shoot you out of the sky before you even launch at this point. If you,
Right.
you
I
guys
mean,
are
you
still
don't know
playing that
about,
game.
like their major bombs, of course,
Oh yeah,
right?
I know.
Which he's mentioning, but
Right.
I mean, supposedly they have some seriously impressive
Oh yeah, they
hypersonic
definitely
missile
do.
capabilities, man.
They're definitely the most nuclear armed country in the face of the earth. I mean, shit,
And
probably
they possess a shit ton of tactical nukes.
right. Yeah. Like I said, obviously, it's not serious, but nonetheless,
Right.
it is a pretty funny notion,
Hmm.
But yeah, obviously, like I said, I don't believe in anything like nuclear war is going to take place. It's really just kind of saber rattling, and it really does kind of have a lot to do with the um, like we were saying, it's Donald Trump. He's seems like he's getting a little bit frustrated at this point, or it's not necessarily frustration, but he has to go about it with different tactics, right? He tried going about it. Let's get everybody sitting down at the table. Let's, talk about our differences, yada, 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 we'll talk this out. And so now it seems like Donald Trump's trying to okay, we have to pivot on that. We can't just keep doing that. I'm going to have to tell him I'm going to melt your fucking domes again. It's my fucking button's bigger type negotiation at this point,
Yeah, the old Rocket Man scenario part 2 for sure.
Right. So it seems like that's the kind of the direction that Donald Trump is trying to go with this whole thing. Of course, like I say, this is all just taking place earlier today. So we'll see what comes of it. I doubt anything.
I have to say it's also, I think, a desperation grasp, like for almost anything as a diversion to quit, the Epstein news, because that's not
Right.
going to go away. I mean,
Right.
like he mentioned himself, what has it been, 5 years now or something? And it's like, dude, that tells you it's not going away, man.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, I do think that people are going to put it in the rear view, I suppose, not necessarily like forget about it, but I do think that people aren't. I don't think that it's going to topple us going forward over the next several months or a couple, maybe into the next couple of years. I do think
It
that
depends on which route they take, as far as, because you see they just moved Ghislaine to a minimum security
right, in
prison
Texas.
in Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, if there's still the possibility that maybe Donald Trump really did kind of underestimate how big of a deal that people actually take this whole Epstein thing to be, because of course, as we talk about quite often, Donald Trump is a very, very busy man. He's a, kind of sandwiched between, saving the fucking world and, saving the economy, while at the same time trying to renegotiate trade with the entire planet and, things like that. He probably, underestimated, like I said, the public interest in this particular case, which he does seem like it could be a possibility. Maybe they're taking different steps now. Maybe they're obviously they're not going to release every fucking file that they have on them, and of course there is still the possibility that all these files are fucking corrupted, right? The whole reason that they don't have a fucking list is because nobody fucking investigated it. Like they got these files and they're like, okay, let's sweep these under the rug and let's fucking have a nice day. Nothing to see here. Nobody start putting two and two together. There's definitely no fucking board with fucking, strings going from this and that to anything in this fucking case. So really, I think a lot of it could just be raw data or just raw, evidence that hasn't been, necessarily processed or, corroborated, anything like that. So maybe with this whole, getting Ghislaine Maxwell involved and stuff like that, it could be a step toward like, you know what? Fine. If they're that serious about it, let's start fucking arresting some people, or let's start, because as we saw, Ghislaine Maxwell, apparently she said that she could list over 100 names, just right off the top of her fucking head. If she, so I mean, it's it could still be a possibility that, like I say, Donald Trump just really severely underestimated how interested the public really is with this case, and maybe he's like trying to get someone get to work on that,
Yeah, like I said last week, though, with him, trying to take shortcuts, like go ahead and release, the grand jury,
right,
information and whatnot, but it's got to be done legally, knowing that every judge in this fucking country, besides Clarence Thomas and fucking Alito, have sided against him. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew that wasn't going to come out, man. Like it's saying I'm going to leave it up to the judiciary is literally just saying fuck off. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, like I say, I do think that it's either one of the two possibilities. Or one, he underestimated and now he's trying to backtrack or go, turn around on it. Or like I mentioned last week, that he's just trying to fuck it. Let's rip this Band-Aid off right away. I got some shit to get done. Let's fuck it. Let them bitch about this within the first 6 months. I got another year and a half that I really need to focus on at this point,
Yeah, and I mean, you don't know what to believe, dude. Like I was just reading, earlier when I first got home from work, where there was some posts saying that the FBI, like the agents combing through the stuff for release, have been ordered to redact names, including Trump's and several other like sitting officials and whatnot. But then you have other people saying that, oh, he's going to release names of leftists and their major contributors.
Right.
But then, then you have people saying, well, then Democrats are going to take office. They're going to release, you know what I'm saying? It's just going to be a flippy floppy. But I like I've said many times, I don't think we're ever going to see shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You know
I definitely don't. Like I said, there's still possibilities, man. And like when it comes to Trump, you never know what's going to happen during his fucking administration, Everyone's like, oh, this is never happened. This will never happen. Well, shit's been happening, But nonetheless, I agree. I don't think that we're going to actually see anything, released of this. I do believe that is, the option where he's trying to just rip this Band-Aid off, fucking let everybody talk about it. And we're already actually seeing that taking place. We've already seen, lots and lots of fucking conservative, commentators already out. Yeah, I never cared about Epstein. Like, what Epstein? Who's that? Yeah, we already have tons of people already, going that route.
That's
and
the full-on Shapiro move. I don't care who killed JFK.
Right. Nobody ever cared about that. Like, why would anybody care about stuff like that? It's
fuck,
old news, right? Yeah.
Happy Hanukkah.
That seems to be the route that it's going to end up taking. But nonetheless, man, we're at nuclear war with Russia now. Right? Yeah, we're not at nuclear war with Russia. I don't know, man. We're in a proxy war with Russia. Definitely pretty deep, though. I'd say that. So I definitely do see the GOP starting to, flip flop on the whole Ukraine thing. Of course, we were pretty adamant for a long time, but I do think a lot of it too does have to do with how deep that we already are in the whole thing. I mean, this has been going for 3 years. We've been funding the entire thing. I mean, it's
well, don't worry, Trump just sent another $1 billion. So
right, that's what I say. The GOP does seem like they're kind of like, well, it turns out now we do got to fucking save. We do have to stop Putin before he fucking invades Poland and the rest of the fucking NATO country. It does seem like they're back on that fucking that whole neocon talking point. Again, I don't give a fuck, dude. Let Russia take fucking Ukraine. Don't
Well,
give a shit.
what's funny is with the current releases as far as the Crossfire Hurricane shit coming out, and it implicating Obama, where they're like, this information's raw, unfettered or whatever. Let's go ahead and put it out anyway, and
Right.
to make Russia seem like the bad guy. But if you knew anything, like in 2012 when Obama was running for reelection, during the debate with Romney, they asked them, who is our biggest geopolitical foe at this point. And Romney immediately said Russia, and Obama's return to
Right.
that was the 80s called and they want their fucking foreign policy back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what a shitbag, man. Like, I mean, just fuck, dude. Everything about you can't even just say Obama because he's just a product of that fucking paradigm, that mind frame. But just the left, dude. What sick fucks? And you don't want to call them Democrats because they're not. They're not
Right.
Democrats. You know what I mean? They're
They're
not
fucking
liberals.
commies.
They're the left. You're right.
Right. I don't even think they're the left. They're a full on communist brainwashed fucking regime at this point.
Yep. I mean,
There is nothing left.
yeah. The product of their brainchild, their brain children, was
Right.
the first book burning recorded in fucking modern history, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about old Russia collusion then, because a lot's been coming out with this too. Of course, that was Thursday, I believe. Files got dropped. So let me see. I got this this article here from the New York Post. I'll just probably read a couple paragraphs, but it says, read the documents that prove Hillary Clinton okayed the plan to smear Trump with Russia collusion. See, Hillary Clinton signed off on a plan hatched by a top campaign advisor to smear then candidate Donald Trump with false claims of Russian collusion and distract from her own mounting email scandal during the 2016 campaign, according to explosive intelligence files declassified on Thursday. The 24-page intelligence annex was compiled from memos and emails obtained by the Obama administration in the lead up to Election Day that laid out confidential conversations between leaders of the Democratic National Committee, including then Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz and liberal billionaire George Soros' Open Societies Foundation. The plot, the brainchild of the Clinton campaign's then foreign policy advisor Julianne Smith, included raising the theme of Putin's support for Trump and subsequently steering public opinion toward the notion that it needs to equate the Russian leader's political influence campaign with the actual hacking of election infrastructure. Smith would go on to serve as former President Joe Biden's ambassador to NATO. Says, I don't have any comment. She told the Post when reached by phone on Thursday. So, yeah, that's just a little bit of it, man. So you want to go ahead and ramble on a little bit more about there?
I mean, of course, all this ties into the Crossfire Hurricane, man, and that entire admin, the Obama admin was nothing but just absolute corruption and scandals. Even though the leftists love to repeat the line, "No scandals except a fucking tan suit," when the easiest thing to point at was Fast and Furious, but then the IRS targeting this shit. Apparently, Obama, like when they came to him and basically said, like with her server shit like that, and this Russian shit, it was, I don't want to get my hands dirty. You guys deal with this, basically, to the CIA, FBI, fucking the DNI. And they spent tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer cash, with this sham investigation. I mean, and of course, it all boils down to Hillary. We knew that her campaign funded and requested the Steele dossier, which Rosenstein used to go to the FISA court to get the illegal wiretapping fucking warrants. And I mean, and then supposedly Trump, would declassified this shit on his way out of the office the first time. And supposedly that was the real reason that they went to raid Mar-a-Lago with that order to kill, because they wanted that information back at fucking all costs. Well, obviously Trump, you can say what you want about the dude, but he's far from a fucking slouch, right? So obviously he didn't have the shit there. I mean, he was smart enough to have that somewhere else under lock and key. And, this is the shit that's being released now, and so we'll see where it goes. I mean, the timing fucks it all up. I think we covered that last week. They almost using Tulsi as a shield for, again, the Epstein debacle, because when this first started coming out, this was right after basically they were saying you're not MAGA if you want the fucking Epstein list released, So,
Right.
it was like a diversion, just like I said about, the Russian shit too, anything to grasp onto to make you look the other way. But, you'd think if anything that Trump wanted to accomplish as far as, his whole retribution spiel that he fucking ran on that we voted for, this would be the one, because this is what fucked up his first, administration. This is what held him, basically in chains for the whole 4 years, man.
Right. Well, I mean, there's the what was it that he said? Like, back then, I didn't want to, it's a former president's wife, and things,
Right.
things of that nature. But of course, it's a whole new ball game now. I mean, of
He,
course, back
he
then it
came
was
in. He came in thinking he was going to work with these people, man.
right.
You know?
He came in just thinking he was going to be the president number 45, and his picture was going to be on a wall, in the White House, and that was going to be the end of it. Like the next person would come in, so on and so forth. But no, he's probably the most well-known president, I'd say, in American history at this fucking point, dude. Like, especially with everything that we're finding out, with them, like this is fucking probably one of the biggest conspiracies that has ever taken place within the United States government at this point. At least
Definitely the biggest
that we
political
know of.
scandal in American history, I'd have to say, for sure, man. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Right.
you remember, like, you got these boys on the old fucking archive, dude. Old Hillary Clinton was posting publicly about this shit, and, basically posting pages of this information back in 2016. Like, if it didn't come from her, how did she have it? And again, trying to start, foreign issues, like foreign conflict, by blatantly, it should concern all Americans that Russians are willing to engage in such hostile acts to help Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I mean, they literally, I know the whole, we've always been at war with Eurasia, but they were trying that shit out in real time. They were like, let's make, a very powerful foreign enemy real quick, just to try to fucking hold on to political fucking, power.
Yep. Shit, fucking burn your empire to the ground so you could reign over the ashes, man.
Yeah. And that's what you're pushing for. I mean, again, we were just talking about, the fucking nuclear war is incoming, man. I mean, Medvedev, while we can sit here and laugh because we're fucking nobody, and, the chances are, pretty, minuscule, I'd have to assume. The dude's serious. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's one thing that's not, we're not going to escape, and we could say, it's saber rattling, yada, yada. But I think, given the reasoning and enough pressure, I'm sure they're just, the death key, man.
You're right. Yep. I definitely don't think that it's going to end up, like, nuclear fallout like we've never seen before, all life wiped out, within an inch of survival, I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's probably going to be, some short tactical, back and forth. And, there's going to be a lot of devastation, a lot of headlines.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the last thing you should want, is war between fucking world powers. And I mean, it's just, that's asinine at best.
Hey, man, people have ridiculous fucking reasonings, man. There's a lot of things that are the last thing that you should want to do. But people do it,
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I think fucking at this point, like I said, I doubt we're gonna fucking hear anything about Epstein, man. I would like to learn some shit about fucking COVID. Like, I want those fucking files released, dude. I want to know what the fuck was going on with Fauci. I want to, fucking start releasing the fucking, where the funding, start bringing receipts to that shit, dude. Like, fucking start, forcing, these Pfizer and Moderna and all these other fucking companies to release all of the fucking data that they have and that they had before releasing those vaccines out to people. Yeah, dude, I would like to see some shit take place with that. If anything, dude, like, obviously, like I said, fucking, the whole Epstein thing is this goes extremely, fucking deep. If you want to get into the whole conspiracy land, which we like to do around here, I mean, it's probably, like I say, the way that the fucking world has been held to, within the grips of the small powerful elite. But things like the whole COVID-19 thing, fuck it, dude, bring those fucking drug companies down. Just, dude, they're absolute. I mean, the whole medical industry at this point, it's it's pretty foobar, you know, it's pretty fucked up. I mean, it's uh, when's the last time they fucking cured anything? When's the last time that they've ever released anything to help any sort of public health concern without a monetary longevity plan in place? Like, when have they ever done anything just out of the goodness of their heart to try and actually help people, to actually try and, you know, solve these medical problems that are keeping people? Like, no, dude, they exacerbate medical problems because an unhealthy person is a lifelong customer, and that's basically their whole model. So I mean, fuck it, dude, release COVID-19 shit, man, bring these fucking people down. Like, that'd be some good shit to see.
It would be, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, like, you know, American media spins everything. And regardless of the information that's dropped, regardless of how in depth or how well researched, how much, you know, evidence they have, it's always explained away in some sham way that makes, you know, the bearer of the information seem like a nut, you know, the fucking CIA modus, right? Conspiracy theorists. But you know, our for real greatest ally, Japan, puts out information almost on a daily basis about things that they've found out, not as far as COVID itself, but the repercussions of, you know, the vax, man, which is just as important, if any of it, if I mean, if not more so, because that was the part that was actually forced into people. And they can say, well, you know, we didn't force you, but if, you know, it was like you
Right.
lose your job,
It's just
you can't
heavily
do this, you can't-
implied.
yeah, your kid can't get the organ transplant they need because you didn't give them the fucking COVID vax. And you
Right.
know what I'm saying? I mean, shit like that. And obviously, it was even worse in other Western countries. You know, and you know, America still kowtowed, you know, as much as it could, I guess. But to me, that's the real aspect of, you know, hey, you know, we killed these many people with this fucking flu, but we killed fucking 10 times that amount with this fucking vaccine, man. You
Right.
know, and that's even longer as far as that's concerned. And they're still pushing that shit. I just saw an article fucking 2 days ago that was saying summer COVID is on the rise. Is it time for another fucking vaccines? You know what I mean? Like, right? Absolutely not. You fucking shitbag lizards, man. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Shit. Still never taking none of that. Like, none of that garbage,
Oh, no.
man.
Oh no! And I
Never trust
swear,
none
I'm
of
a
those
personal fucking witness to the turbo cancer that fucking, you know, caused it, dude. Like, you know, my pops passed not long ago, right? And dude, he took a Pfizer and a Johnson and Johnson. You know what I'm saying? And that fool was, you know, got real sick real quick. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Strapping man worked fucking like a slave his whole life, and then was just fucking wasted away like bam.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, dude, that was that entire era, dude. It was just fucking felt like a nightmare, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, holy shit, like, this is the fucking way that they're gonna kill all of us? Like, we just fucking like rats in a fucking cage right now, and they're just fucking, well, get rid of them, you know? Like, holy shit, like, it was pretty nuts, man. It really, that was the catalyst that opened up a lot of people's eyes to what's taking place in the world today. You know, they locked everybody down, and people started kind of looking around a little bit. You know, they fucking finally, you know, pulled their heads out of their asses and like, wait a minute, what's going on out here? You know?
Yeah,
And
and while
I
they
think
were
that's
locked down, the interzone searches went through the roof, dude. Like,
right.
it was people that never even maybe heard the term rabbit hole that were deep in it a few weeks in. You
Right.
know what I mean?
I think that's been, you know, major contributor to what's taking place today. You know, what the world that we're living in right now. You know, everybody's
Yeah.
hyper polarization about everything. Yeah,
And shell shock. Shell shock for the fact that so the people that you supposedly elect to fucking, you know, be the caretakers of your country were willing to absolutely fucking destroy the economy and your children's fucking learning abilities and, you know, social interactions just so, you know, they could destroy fucking, you know, populism basically. And you don't want to say just Trump because, you know, obviously populism on the rise across the West where they had to put the kibosh on that shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? Half the people running across the West is that are looked at as right wing are currently facing some kind of charges or or in jail or debanked at this point, man. And that was the start of it right there.
Yep. Fucking misinformation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually, I think that's the warning on this channel is for misinformation from back in that era. Oh man, good times, good times.
Right. All that shit, you should almost be entitled to compensation, dude. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Meta, for instance, dude. I have thousands of subs on there, bro. Fucking the time I was shut down, my channel could have grew exponentially. You fucking owe me, bruh.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of the creators that you like today watch probably on a regular basis either fucking started around or blew up during that COVID time because people were sitting at home. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's why a lot of fools you know their name today, man.
Right. Yep. And a lot of people they'll even say like fucking, they started like right around Trump's first term, or they started right when COVID took place, or whatever. But those are the kind of the two main awakening factors in America and in this modern times we be living in. But real quick, man, I don't have it on here on the list actually, but dude, the whole fucking gamer gate or the Visa gate thing going on right now with they're trying to basically make you have to fucking upload a fucking ID and shit like that for your purchases. Of course, we're seeing tech censorship around the world with places like Australia officially banning 16 people under the age of 16 from accessing YouTube. And of course, a lot of this stuff it's all just like hey, prevent kids from being able to see, from being able to access porn on the internet, things like that. Yada, woohoo! And they pass it off as that, guys. But I mean, ultimately, how do you do that practically? Because it's not just going to be a click this box that says yes, I am over 16, or I am over 18, or I am over 21. Like that's it's not gonna be the way they're doing it. They're trying to roll out digital ID. They're trying to get everybody to basically force your biometrics to so that way they could tell who's doing what, who's typing what, who's thinking what. That's ultimately the goal. It's not about fucking safety. It's about control. It's about being able to monitor people. It's about being able to force their will on people. I mean, ultimately me, I don't give a fuck. I don't do social media. I mean, if it's you don't upload your ID, you're not going to get on social media. Like, okay, whatever, dude. But I mean, there's a lot of people, as you were just talking about, people out here make their livelihoods on the internet, on social media. It's a big thing. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to just like, or they're not going to see anything wrong with just like, whatever, it's just my ID, like, cool. I just fucking, they scan my retinas now every time I fucking log into X or, Facebook or anything like that. Now it's a slippery slope, but this is something that we've been talking about for some time that they're trying to implement, and is the whole digital ID thing. And again, something else I want to bring back up, a blast from the past, is Donald Trump's digital bill of rights that he was proposing during the campaign season. Right. So this could be another step toward that, because that was another, again, what would a digital bill of rights look like? What would it include? Again, and how would you actually enforce said digital bill of rights? Well, you would need to force digital ID. So I think, I mean, I don't think that we're getting out of this because of the fact that both fucking sides of the political power struggle want this,
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm standing here wearing a MAGA shirt, bro. But you got some shit to say, right? Trump couldn't give two shits about digital rights, man. The dude hired Peter fucking Thiel to build your social credit score through the alphabet fucking soup agencies, and they're combining all the information from the CIA, the FBI, the fucking ATF, all that shit. You know what I mean? And this dude's already built an AI model that it's like precog, dude, like fucking Minority Report. It puts together your information along with habits online, stuff like that, and it basically predicts when and what kind of crime you'll commit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
right.
and that's that's just theoretical, dude. I mean, because like someone fits, a frame doesn't mean that they're going to take that picture. You know what I'm saying? But it goes, several ways, right? So with the kids thing, it's, we got to protect the children, right? The guys always used to commit atrocities. It's for the kids, right? But
Right.
with that same thing, I mean, we also know that you can't have communism without starting with younger generations, and that's also a way to stop.
Indoctrination.
Right. I mean, you see like Europe and shit lowering their voting age to 16 because, kids are the most impressionable and, easily goaded and made to believe fucking fallacies, right? So
Right.
obviously they'll be able to control any kind of information from young minds that go against the state. And then on top of that, the whole biometrics thing. So it's like it's like a three-sword fucking engine, man. We're doing this and that, but it's for your kids' protection.
Right. And like I said, dude, I think ultimately that reality is an inevitability because it's not like there's a strong voice opposed to it at this point, other than the people, that see we see what you guys are doing there. We
Right.
thought we didn't know what digital IDs was. You guys, we know what you're doing.
Yeah, but and I'm not even saying necessarily like Trump's evil as far as that aspect, like his thought process. I think he's an old cat. He's from that fucking era where people would, if you don't got nothing to hide, you don't got nothing to worry
Right.
about, that type of shit. And we know that when he was running the first time as president, something that I vehemently disagreed with from Jump Street was the take the guns now, due process later, the stop and frisk aspect that goes right along with the nothing to hide, nothing to worry about. And unfortunately, the people that almost exclusively run the country right now are those people. You know what I'm saying? But they're also the same people that were doing some of the most criminalistic shit in the 60s and 70s, man.
Right. Yep.
Well,
So
and they're also the love not war cats. They're the hippies, but they're the same ones that are blowing up brown kids across the fucking planet all the time.
right. Yep. It's a fucking a circus of hypocrisy, man. Like I say, it doesn't matter either side. Two sides of the same fucking buzzard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, definitely to an extent. I mean, we know that there is differences, but ultimately they do flock together, and that's when like you just mentioned earlier with Trump, like, well, I wouldn't want to lock her up because it's fucking, you know what I'm saying, ex-president's wife is and stuff. Yeah, but then the other side, they arrested Trump and his attorneys. They arrested Trump multiple times. You know what I mean?
That ain't waste no time.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So definitely a different era that we're living in, man.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie though, man. All this together, dude, with things that we mentioned last week, and I'm sure more will cover to come, has me pretty fucking disappointed, dude, in the situation, bro. I'm not gonna lie, man.
Right.
And I'm not, I don't want to be one of these fags on here like I'm burning my fucking MAGA hats. You know what I
Right.
mean? It ain't like that. I sure, I would vote for a toaster before I voted for a Democrat, man. You know what I mean? But at that same token, the Republicans are known to be coward cucks, and that's, do nothings. That's, what we currently have going on. And then it seems that Trump's going back on quite a bit of the things that fucking he ran on. And, he loves to fucking gaslight and try to like, well, I didn't say that. That's not
Right.
what I meant. Says you're not MAGAs.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the biggest disappointment. Like fools that helped you get where you're at. And now it's you're not MAGAs. MAGAs is Trump. Like MAGA came
Right.
from fucking Reagan, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, like fucking everybody's over there trying to gaslight fucking when he said it's a Democrat hoax and this and that, and then fucking 2 days later, the what was it like the fucking photo or something, the other fucking connection that connected Donald Trump to Epstein that they just fucking released, and everyone's trying to say, oh, that's what he was talking about. See, he was predicting the future, and he knew that the Democrats were cooking up this scheme and they were going to release it in a couple of days, so he was trying to cut them off at the head and say that this is Democrat hoax. He definitely wasn't saying that Epstein is a Democrat hoax. He was saying this thing that's about to happen, in the future, that's a hoax. Like,
Don't get me wrong though, man. In Trump's defense, as far as that's concerned, the current files that do exist were put together by the shamed fucking Marxist piece of shit Eric Holder and his crew. You know what I mean? So there is that, but at the same time, if you're mentioned in there, bro, I mean, You're just as
Right.
guilty as everyone else, unless it's you can plainly show that. Oh, this was just a plane ride in the opposite direction.
Right. Yep. Definitely nothing to see here. You know. And like I said, I still believe that that's the case. You know, I still believe. I don't believe that he's, in any way, a pedophile or involved with any sort of pedophilic activity. But nonetheless, man, like I say, it's definitely suspicious that he's definitely looking the other way on a lot of this. You know.
Yeah, and how fast it turned. Like I said, it went from we're going to release this to fucking, you're not real Trump supporters. Is
Right. You're not even reals MAGAs. MAGA is
Yeah.
Trump. Like, it's MAGA's always been Trump. You guys, what are you talking about?
And of course they tried the tired trope, first, around the conservacon circles that it was anti-Semitism, but that didn't fly, so they had
Right.
to move on to the you're not really MAGA.
You're not even MAGA enough.
Right.
Right. But all right, man. Let's go ahead and talk about the fucking. Yeah, let's go ahead and sprinkle in a little bit of Ilhan Omar's real quick. So apparently there was a whole big thing that just got busted, a big old fraud scheme from the COVID-19 era that was what was it?
2022.
Feeding Our Future. Yeah. Feeding Our Future. All right. So it was basically a government, fucking funded
NGO, man.
program.
It's
Right,
an
so-
NGO, bro.
Right. It's a government funded fucking
It's not
non-government.
government.
Well, government funded still.
I know, but it's a joke because I mean,
I know,
like
but-
if you cut
all right,
government funding and your NGO fails, you weren't really an NGO, man.
Right. You were a fucking funnel, man. So that seems to be what was going on here, right? And so, of course, we know that these sorts of things take place all the time. We know that fucking they definitely took place heavily during the COVID era. But what makes this one interesting is who's got adjacencies to it, right? So this took place in what was it, Minnesota, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was a scheme up in Minnesota, and of course it involved
Somali
none
soda.
other- right. The Somalis of Minnesota, everybody knows, they're naturally born, raised there. They've been living there for generations and generations now.
Indigenous.
All right, definitely indigenous to the place. I think I'm on the right tab. Okay, yep. All right. So Ilhan Omar, of course, she had to come out and denounce them. Here, let's go ahead and read what she said. She says, this fraud scheme purportedly orchestrated by Feeding Our Future is reprehensible, using the guise of feeding children to funnel millions of dollars toward extravagant expenses is abhorrent, and anyone who participated in this scheme must be held accountable. So apparently she sounds a little bit more Indian now, but so let's go ahead and get into a little bit of these comments here. So it turns out that they gave her some monies, right? So as we could see here, there's people, Ilhan Omar, right? Names of people, if they're indicted, and their contributions. And it looks like a few of them that were, yes, indicted have all donated to whole Ilhan Omar. And then not to mention, apparently, she had her election night victory party at the Safari restaurant, which is the restaurant in question, right? So apparently they got all this money. They're supposed to be making tons and tons of meals, and they're supposed to be just giving them out to the community, giving them out to the kids. They got to feed the kids. And they weren't doing that. They were just taking the fucking money. They made like a couple thousand meals, and they were said that they made a couple of million. So yeah, they definitely weren't doing that. They were just scheming money and of course funneling it back. So of course she held her election night victory party at the Safari restaurant. You took thousands of dollars in campaign contributions from them. Your friends were indicted, right? So basically that's what took place here. That's what makes it so interesting. And again, nothing's gonna come of this. I doubt anything's gonna come of this, but just a little interesting story there. Old Ilhan Omar. She definitely. I mean, the Somalis from Minnesota, naturally born and raised there, 100% American born, Somali community. They definitely did not do anything like this. Well, apparently, the ringleader, the person that was he was one of the shadowy people in between. He wasn't necessarily the person who was named as the owner, but he was basically the person that was funneling money to the owner. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with that part. But yeah, definitely some interesting stuff. Interesting stuff there.
Yep, it seems to be a pretty good pattern there, man. Whenever you get to a large foreign enclave in a state, fraud always ensues. You know what I mean? And this being no exception, obviously, these people got away with almost $250 million in food assistance program cash, dude. So tax dollars, of course. I mean, anything that comes, but this is from the federal government, not from the state of Minnesota. And, hopefully heads will roll as far as, the people actually involved. Ilhan, right? They say that there's no clarification that, she had any foreknowledge or anything like that. And apparently she's given all the money back, but it should at minimum be given back with interest. You know what I mean? Because, obviously if you don't pay that money in, they're going to charge you with interest and send people with firearms to your home to get it. So,
Yep. So I did remember what I was going to say. And that person that I was just describing, that was the person, not necessarily the name on the thing, but the person right above it. He's been arrested for fraud several times before, actually. This ain't his first rodeo with this. So, yeah, definitely, it's not like she had any foreknowledge that this person was a fraudster or a scheme artist or anything like that, right? Yeah, he's only been indicted for it several times beforehand. But how is she to know? Silly.
I mean, really, she isn't, though. Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're running background checks on every fucking donation. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I've done some criminalistic things, and I donated money to Trump. I'm sure he doesn't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, obviously I'm not trying to make excuses for this chick, like the old Chris Plant quote, man. You'd rather see her fucking sun bleached bones being crawled over by black scorpions right now, right? Send all these people back to fucking Somalia. I'm tired of the whole bleeding heart. Like, you got us to help these people. We tried to help and they fucking stole from us. Now send them the fuck home. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And of course, I'm a proponent and a pusher and a voter for mass deportations, but obviously that isn't really going to take place. So we got to use the excuse of criminal immigrants fucking that, they're currently, deporting on and limiting themselves on for our advantage. And every time these people commit crimes, don't put them through the legal process, catapult them into the fucking sea.
Right. Right. Do what they're already accusing you of doing.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So again, interesting stuff. Of course, it's just foreigners taking over our nation and shit. Frauding our the good hearts of our people.
Yep, and you can say it's racism's all you want, but you look at places that were colonized, and then in the 80s and shit, they were given back to people, and then you look at those same places now. Some of them as little as 25 years ago, they were given back to the indigenous whatevers, and they're fucking shambles. Buildings are decrepit and falling apart. Nothing works anymore. Electrical systems are done. The fucking the hydro processors are done.
Canada's on their way, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, ultimately, so are fucking we, and it's because of this. Regardless of any fingers that like to be pointed, I mean, ultimately, it's the people that get voted into office that control the purse strings that just blow it out their ass at every given opportunity. But at the same token, billions and billions and billions of dollars has been wasted on these people. I mean, we're talking just in the last several years, it's been upwards of $450 billion. So, I mean, dude, you need some funds for infrastructure? There it is. You know what I mean? Next time one of these left shitbags bitch about the roads are all fucked up and I paid on taxes. You voted to fucking pay for insurance for illegals, dickweed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Fucking no human is illegal. Remember you guys were chanting that? Well, this is the repercussions. Okay.
Yeah. They're not illegal, so they got your monies.
Right. Yep. So some more justice that we're not going to see in terms of illegals is remember that guy that was handing out, gas masks and riot shields, shit like that. Fucking, the non-government organizations that tend to come around during these riots, dropping off, pallets of bricks,
The
what have you.
telltale sign that there'll soon be a mostly peaceful protest shortly.
Right, right. So apparently those people aren't getting fucking held to justice either, right? So the guy that I was talking about in question, the guy that we all saw during these LA riots, which I don't even know, are they still fucking going on? I
Oh,
don't know.
fuck, who knows?
I
Right.
don't see. I haven't heard anything about order being restored to California, so I'm only to assume that they are still ongoing. But nonetheless, the guy that was out there, giving out gas masks and riot shields, things like that. Yeah, he was federally indicted, right, for I guess some sorts of conspiracy charges. I don't know the exact charges, but I'm assuming some sorts of conspiracy charges in connection with organizing and of course supplying for these riots, for these large scale riots that ended up attacking federal officers, ended up impeding federal workers from being able to do their job and fucking deport illegal immigrants. And yeah, apparently a district court judge has dropped the case. No reason.
That's absolutely fucking surprising.
Right. She did drop it without prejudice. So, I mean, it can be brought back up in the future, but at this point it's been dropped. Don't see anything of it coming back. Well, let me see if I got this pulled up. Yes. Charges dropped against LA man who distributed face shields during anti-ICE protests. Let me just go ahead and so the organization that he was with was called Centro CSO. Right. And their statement is Alejandro did nothing wrong. We knew it from the beginning, but it's still scary. These were serious federal conspiracy charges that were dropped through fighting. It was, through fighting. They're trying to like, oh, yeah, we fought tooth and nail. Like, well, the judge didn't give a fucking reason why they dropped the charges. Right. So I'm only to assume that you guys fucking had to do something with the judge in some sense. Right. Through fighting. It wasn't given to us. We fought every preliminary hearing, every appearance, said Gabriel Quiroz Jr. from with Central CSO. So yeah. We ain't going to see anything in relation to that. We're definitely not going to see any sort of justice for any of the people that were funding and organizing these riots, these violent riots. Which, of course, as we like to point out quite often, the left always went, but what about January 6th, right? What about every fucking week for the past 4 fucking years?
10.
Right. Right. What about every single fucking week? Dude, we haven't even gotten into the violence portion yet because we're trying to save that a little bit for the latter hour. But dude, stabbings, mass shootings, fucking violent gang beatings, all taking place just this week alone. We're gonna be talking about that in a little bit, but I mean, dude, we see injustice there? Nope.
The greatest threat they face in America today is right-wing white men.
Right. It's the white man.
Right.
The white man, dude. He's out to get all of us.
It's going to put you all back in chains, man. It's pretty obvious that the circuit court judges in this country, at least about 75%, are part of a activist gang. And I know a motherfucking gang, dude.
I did my research.
You're right. And it's pretty obvious, regardless of who's put them on the bench, because they love to do the old, a Bush appointed judge. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The circuit fucking court in this country is completely corrupt and useless, man. I mean, they'll prosecute a fucking grandma for standing outside of an abortion clinic, but yet, they let violent rioters and orchestrators fucking walk while your so-called elected officials are on the fucking inner zones raising bail for them and shit. You know what I mean? But they'll remove your GoFundMe if you're accused of shit and you're right as Stalin, then you definitely don't deserve legal representation in a country that guarantees it. You know what I'm saying? Just absolute disgusting fucking filth that we deal with. We used to say that, like, we don't think that they're bad people. They're good people with bad ideas. I'm the complete opposite at this point. I mean, I don't know if people have paid attention since we've been doing this show, but I've a complete 180 socially and politically at this point, man. I think that they're fucking absolute reptiles and reptile fucking hybrids. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the blue hair is definitely a hybrid fucking attribute.
How much of what's going on within the judicial system do you think boils down to either fear of the public and what they might do, you know, like these Antifa far leftist things like that? How much of it is just these judges are just weirdo fucking leftist hippies and they like, oh, this is what's popular, this is what everybody wants, you know, like, it's great, it's beautiful, love, peace, you know. How much of it do you think is that, and how much of it do you think is actually just corruption and partisan politics?
Corruption and partisan politics definitely are, I think, are one and the same in this case. You know what I'm saying? And that runs pretty deep. But you know, it's also what you touched on there. A vast majority of the judiciary in this country are all from the boomer generation, and those seem to be the most corrupt, selfish, fucking narcissistic, and Marxist influenced fucking generation
Fucking
ever, probably.
Praying to FDR and shit every night.
Yeah. I mean, you know, just absolute fucking clowns, dude. You know what I mean? The people that raised you, that told you never play in the fucking road, now ride in it every day along major roadways. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's just, you know, the most minuscule example about the fucking, you know, mental flip that fucking our previous generations have taken, and nothing but a mass scheme to fucking keep themselves enriched on funds that aren't there, and fucking the you know, the false fucking, you know, a facade of the liberal fucking world order holding power, man. I mean, that's all I can deduce from it, because I mean, people that taught you, you know, all the phrase common sense now haven't the faintest fucking ounce of it. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying all, because of course there's exceptions to everything, but for the vast majority, especially the ones that you deal with on a daily basis, have lost their fucking minds. You got fucking 70-year-olds riding around with, I bought this Tesla before I knew
Right.
Elon's was crazy. Like,
Fucking
bro, you're the one
TDS
that's
to the
crazy.
max.
Right? You are a fucking idiot. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And that blows, because you don't want to think that of your fucking parents and grandparents and stuff. But like, they're that generation single-handedly destroying this motherfucker on their way out.
Right. Yeah, fucking burning the ship fucking on the way out and everything.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. It's a rough fucking shit we're going through, man. But yeah, dude, it's you know, definitely some bullshit, you know, like you say. You're hoping that we're seeing a shift on the horizon. We're definitely seeing signs of it. I mean, it's really undeniable that the popular culture nowadays is more on the side of conservatism, and basically not even necessarily conservatism, but whatever the fuck that shit over there on the left is not, you know. Like they're not necessarily, you know, this next generation isn't necessarily like, you know, fucking being more conservative. Yes, a lot of people are, but for the most part, I think it's more just repulsion of the left, you know. And I think that's what this political swing that we're seeing is. So I think a lot of it is still going to be a bit of the same old, but I think in terms of the madness and things like that, I think that could possibly be going out. But yeah, in terms of how the laws are and how, you know, the corruption and all that shit is, I think that's fucking here to stay. I don't think anybody's gonna be able to vote that away, and I don't think anybody you know would at this point.
I think the people that would don't have the numbers, and
Right.
the people that won't is strictly for, you know, self fucking, you know, reasons, like, you know, just complete selfishness and narcissism, dude. You know, everything's me. It's not about the country or the you know, the country you're going to leave for your children. It's about fucking what can I get and what can I continue to get until I die. You know what I mean? And that's one of the huge problems. I mean, Even Social Security. I mean, you talk to older people that currently collect it, and you explain to them how the numbers that are given, that it's going to be broke by 2035, and every year they cut that down by months because of schemes like Ukrainians collecting Social Security, fucking illegals getting Social Security, and they'll swear to their dying day that that's conspiracies. That's not really happening, and you could
Right.
show them the information, but they'll refuse to believe it. But they still believe in the whole concept and will fight tooth and nail to protect that fucking check, even though you're showing like, dude, it doesn't exist. You're literally collecting from 4 other people's current fucking pay. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. Well, speaking of the Pelosi Act,
Right.
so yeah, the fucking Pelosi Act, man, that shit got introduced this week. Shit, I mean, it's about time, somebody fucking finally brought it up. I mean, of course, it's been a thing, we've been talking about it for some time, but I mean, within the legislature, somebody finally bringing it up. See, so we got this little 2-minute video here from Josh Hawley. Motherfucking Josh Hawley. But yeah, so it's what's the Pelosi Act stand for? Is like preventing
forgot.
elected
Yeah, it's some nonsense.
preventing elected leaders from
We got to make an acronym of
from
everything.
fucking us over, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's like we don't have the brain capability to speak complete sentences anymore. You got to make it an acronym, dude.
Remember the Hunter Act is fucking something related to Hunter. I don't even remember what the fuck it was. I'll probably have to look that up now just because I just remembered it. But yeah, if I can.
Well, one thing I'm going to say before
had to
you're
do
going
with
to play this
rehab or
video,
something.
though, dude, before you play this video, I got to fucking just one quick little fucking comment on it. This shit is absolutely worthless, right? And they interviewed fucking Pelosi and asked her about it, and her immediate response lets you know that this is fucking completely worthless. Because she said, "I'm for it. I don't trade. My husband does."
Right.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? That's
Yeah,
literally
they
like she
forgot
just
that.
passes the information on, and he makes the purchase. It wasn't her.
Right. They forgot that provision that's really, really kind of necessary is, you got to kind of prevent the elected officials and their immediate family members as well,
Right.
too. It's
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah, that
something
was a good one there. I thought you were going to go with spouses. That was good. You said fucking immediate family members. That was a good one.
right. 'Cause, I mean, ultimately it's just still insider trading if it's your
Yeah.
fucking kid or
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, nonetheless. But you'd like to see it happen. So what's the whole controversy thing? Because they're trying to, or I mean, obviously it would make sense. They're not going to basically force every single member of every single elected official to like divest tomorrow. That's ultimately going to result in moving markets in some way, shape, or form. So they're planning on doing this over the next or on the next election term. So basically, they'd be it'd take place at the end of 2027, I believe they said it was. So yeah. So ultimately, they're trying to they're just doing this so Donald Trump doesn't have to divest and shit like that. That's what the argument is. But ultimately, I don't know what's the whole thing with that 4-year next term thing.
Well, obviously, I mean, like you just said, I mean, an immediate dump like that would create a ruckus in an economy that he's trying to build currently. And the pressure upwards on the Fed to lower fucking rates obviously comes from the success of that. And the success, long term relies on those fucking rates being lowered, dude. So, I mean, they got to insulate the administration. And I don't blame them for that. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? So, of course, the left doesn't agree with that portion. And of course, they're going to disagree just because it's a possible Trump win. But you have, just as many Republicans. Well, probably not just as many, but you still have quite a few Republicans that voted against it, including fucking Rand Paul, who's, in the last year or so has been kind of a disappointment as well, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, the damn Bongino rule, you don't put your faith in people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And fucking that's prime
Don't
example.
fall in love with people, fall in love with results.
Right.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and check this out. So Josh Hawley, everybody.
Say that we have an opportunity here today to do something that the public has wanted us to do for decades, and that is to ban members of Congress from profiting on information that, frankly, only members of Congress have in the buying and selling of stock. 86% of Americans say that members of Congress should not be able to buy and sell shares of stock, individual stock, while they are members of this body. And they are absolutely correct. And the reason is, you can see it. There was just another ethics referral in the House last week. We've seen the former Speaker of the House make millions of dollars in profits. We've seen members of both parties, I'm sad to say, be investigated for their stock trades. And the reason for all of this is that, quite frankly, members of this body are privy to information that the normal person just is not. Now, is that insider trading? It is not under the laws. Sometimes people say, well, we already have insider trading laws. We don't need a stock ban. Well, the information that members of Congress are privy to is technically not covered by the insider trading laws, but nobody really believes that the information that we get isn't valuable. It is quite valuable, which is why back during COVID, you saw members of Congress of both parties engage in a flurry of stock trading right after they were getting COVID briefings. Were members of the public getting those briefings? They were not. Were members of the public privy to the kind of information that was being given to members of Congress? No, they were not. And so when you look at what members of Congress are privy to, what they are able to trade on, the access that they have, it's just qualitatively different than your average Joe or Jane, which is why we ought to put into place common sense guardrails that say, if you want to be a member of Congress, you can put you want to save, great. You can buy mutual funds. You can buy broadly diversified investment vehicles. You should not be able to buy and trade individual stock shares, in which, frankly, we have an interest in the work that we do. We have information that no other people get, no other members of the public have. This bill would finally redress that.
So, yep, it'd be nice to see them forced to stop the whole insider trading thing.
Something I forgot to say in my reply right there, though, dude. Like you mentioned with you were like, what's the deal with the fucking flip flopping or whatever, the argument. One of the things is when Holly first started mentioning that he was going to do this, Trump came out against him, truthing against him, talking shit, turncoat, I helped get elected twice, yada, yada. Then Holly had a meeting with him at the White House, and then, now Trump's with it. So, that could have been the, hey, we'll insulate you from the repercussions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really.
Just wait till the next go around, man. Don't worry about it. You're all right. Let's take down that post, man. Take it down.
Insulating you would be economically fucking helpful for the country. So don't worry, Bobby.
Right. But real quick, I looked up the Hunter Act while we were watching that video. The Hunter Act of 2022. It, of course, didn't pass. It was kind of like a joke one, but it was to prohibit the use of federal funds to purchase or support the purchase of drug paraphernalia. That was during that time when they were giving out the safe smoking kits and shit like that.
Right.
The Hunter Act.
We're trying to protect you from spreading mouth viruses, man.
Right, you don't want to get fucking herpes to everybody, right?
The new crack pipe. It's got a mouthpiece.
Right, so you don't cut your fucking lips everywhere. Get fucking blisters and boils and shit when you burn them. Yeah, man, fucking the Biden administration. Those were the glory days, man. We used to talk all kinds of shit on here, man. Now it's just sitting here trying to fucking defend what the fuck's going on, man.
Right, you almost feel obligated to an extent.
Right. Well, I mean, ultimately, you got to count your wins, I suppose. Hopefully they'll be banning members of Congress from, members of the legislature, from being able to invest and trade in stocks. Right. So, of course, they'll still be able to do their mutual funds. They'll still be able to have, ETFs, all those different sorts of things like that. They just can't invest into companies directly. Right. Because, of course, those companies are companies that they, ultimately regulate on. What is the Pelosi strategy? Right. You short this, stock, and then you introduce legislature on it next week, and then when the price goes down on it, you know that legislature is not going to pass, so you sell, and then when the legislature doesn't pass, the price goes back up and you get your fucking money back. It's like, it's ridiculous, so it'd be nice to see that pass. Of course, you got to do it right, though. You got to do it right. You can't miss out that family members portion. That's pretty important there.
Yeah, and regardless of what the law says, it is insider trading. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
need to amend the law to say fucking, to point out reality.
Right.
Like the vast majority of things written on paper, it's fucking, someone's utopian dream. You know what I mean? Like most laws seem to disregard human nature.
Right.
And,
Common sense in most cases.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, they're clearly, people vote within their own, best self-interest, and we live in a representative republic, so fuck, man. Yep.
Yep, and if you're on the inner zones for any stretch of time, you realize a massive portion of the people that are fucking voting, for those self-importance aspects are just complete morons, man. You know what I'm saying? Just
Right.
nincompoops.
Shit. So what's
So
your?
you-
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to switch to the next one. Go ahead if you got anything else.
I was just going to point to the next one too, but I was going to say, we should bring that into the Sweeney shit because that's a classic right there. If you want to see, the bell curve in action, just watch the fucking reactions from the Sydney Sweeney ad.
Right. Right. Yeah, dude. If I can. So as the next one I was going to go to is actually Sydney Sweeney, man. So apparently it's a fascist propaganda scheme, campaign, whatnot. You're talking about genes and genetics and shit. They're all about eugenics nowadays. Praise Margaret Sanger. The right's all about fucking eugenics. We just want abortions on demand, especially in these, neighborhoods for people of color and stuff like that, because we know that they have hard times and they don't know how to raise children because they were never taught. And
Big
can't-
titties
they
and
can't get
denim
IDs.
talking about genes is definitely Goebbels level propaganda, man.
Right. Yep.
Or should we
So,
run with the Al Sharpton fucking term? Am I under the belief that he had got his information from Gurgles? Who the fuck is Gurgles, bro?
Oh man. But yeah, so apparently fucking shit, dude. If that was Goebbels fucking doing this this ad, he fucking nailed it out of the park, man. Because
Yeah.
ultimately, titties sell. Titties make people want to buy stuff. You put some big old fucking tits in someone's face, and they're gonna, it's strip. It's the fucking the most basic form is the strip club. I mean, you literally put titties in someone's face, and they go dollars. I mean,
Right,
it's
it worked. Their stock went up 17% in 48 hours.
Right. And
Fuck.
ultimately, in this sense, no, what is it? Fucking no publicity is bad publicity. It actually reigns true here, right? So I'd say Sydney Sweeney is the 100% polar opposite case study of Dylan Mulvaney, right?
Right.
Right. In terms of marketing and ad campaigns and shit like that. If you were to write a book on how to run an ad campaign and how to market to the people, you could have one part about Dylan Mulvaney and how not to market to people, and then Sydney Sweeney and how to absolutely market to everybody to where you're gonna fucking go up 17% overnight. Like
Right.
that's
You just wrap, so you don't even need Sweeney. You just wrap big titties and fuck
Right.
partially in denim.
Yep. But I mean, when you get the big titties and celebrity in there, it's a game changer, And
Yeah,
it definitely
I guess
worked.
celebrity. Like I'm getting old, but I didn't even know who the fuck she
I
was
didn't
until this
either.
ad happened, dude. Like that show White Lotus she's on with. I've never seen a single
seen it.
fucking. Right. I've
Euphoria.
tried the coffee creamer once, man.
I guess she was on that show Euphoria too. I've seen like one episode, and I was like, "This is degenerate stuff. I ain't watching this." Look at them; they're doing drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird though, dude. It won't once you like tend to like see things a certain way. It's like you can't watch movies and television anymore because you just
Right.
see you that's all you notice is the propaganda. It's like the Matrix and shit. Like all I see is ones and zeros at this point.
Yeah, that's what it's become, man. It's hard to watch anything nowadays without
Right.
looking through a lens of reality, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
Man,
fucking
this is
weird.
straight propaganda, bro. Yeah.
Right. Dude, ignorance is bliss is fucking true to the motherfucking end. You know what I mean? It
Right.
really is, bro. I mean, you think back before you ever were politically, aware, and everything was just lollipops, man. Like that was a good movie. You watch that same movie now, and you're like, holy shit, man! They're pushing an agenda on children and fucking. You know what I'm
Dude.
saying? Like,
Remember like a couple years ago, fucking when they made a new Scooby Doo fucking cartoon, and fucking Velma is now a lesbian and she's attracted to like a black fucking version of Velma and shit like that.
right.
Right. So I put that on a little bit earlier today. It's just like, yeah, let's see how fucking woke it really is. It's bad, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking bad, bro. Like the focus of I only watched like probably like a quarter, maybe half of it. The entire focus of the fucking movie is based on fucking Velma's giant fucking lesbo crush on this fucking on the villain, basically the villain of villains, the villain that is basically the person that has designed all of the evil costumes and sent people out, sent out cronies to fucking go into these costumes and play these evil characters and stuff like that, so that way they could bring down Mystery Inc. and shit. That person, that's who the person is that Velma is super fucking lesbo in love with. And so yeah, it like I said, that's the main focal point of the entire of the movie. I guess there's some sort of mystery going on or whatever, and they need her to solve it. So they go down to the warden and say, "Oh, it's okay, we'll take her. We need her to help us." And like fucking Velma's like, "I'll watch her." Like, dude, it's horrible. And then they're riding in the fucking in the mystery machine, and like they got this chick with them, and she's all like fucking like good and bad are subjective terms and shit like that. There is no such thing as good. There's no such thing as bad. You say I'm doing bad, but if I do this, doesn't that make it good? And then Val was like, "You're absolutely right. Like, yes, there is no actual difference between good and bad. Anything that people could perceive as bad could actually be like, dude, like it's pure fucking straight propaganda, brainwashing ridiculousness."
That's rough shit, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
You think when you were a kid how innocent
this.
those shows were. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now you can look back on the 70s episodes and nothing like that. You know what I mean? The most agenda they were pushing was like, don't do bad, kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
Bad people's never wins is.
Right. Yep. Fucking unless they make a movie about you, then you're fucking winning. Yeah. Unless your legends never die. Right? It's basically their whole message. Yeah, fucking. I was watching Timcast the other night. Fucking Mary Morgan was saying something like fucking about Titanic. She's like, fucking, if I were to rewrite Titanic, fucking, she would have actually stayed with her husband and wouldn't have ran off and cheated with that guy. That's what I would have changed about it. Like, she would have been a good woman and stuck by her husband, and instead of running off with some fucking weirdo artist on the fucking ship. Like, yeah, it really
Some homeless kid.
Right. Then you go do it in the back of a fucking car and shit like that while her husband's off doing business fucking deals and what have you,
Ridiculous shit.
Yeah, they really did. They tried to brainwash us. They did a pretty good job, I'll be honest. Everything's pretty fucked around here.
I have to say, the major aspect, like I said, as far as seeing older shit now, and you're like, well, they were trying to push an agenda then, but I have to say that really kicked in when I was had already started raising kids and was, having to be a tax slave. You know what I mean? So I missed a lot of that, obviously.
The Scooby-Doos from the 70s are cool, man. Nowadays, nah, not so much.
Right.
But yep, it's been a slow march toward communism. It's been a slow march, I say. But yeah, man, it like I say, it really is crazy when you actually like look at it from from a different from the lens of just understanding the world around you and things like that, and how power works and what people are trying to fucking do behind the scenes, and just basically logical conclusions about the structures of power at B. Yeah, it definitely changes things for you.
It's Khazarian fucking Marxism, dude.
Right?
cultural Khazarian Marxism.
But nonetheless, man, there's a fucking golden horizon, and it's shaped like two mounds, and it's coming back to America. And those two mounds called fucking titties.
Right.
Titties sell.
Yep.
Americans like titties. Bring the titties back. Put the fatties and the fucking gays and the weirdos with the fucking buzz cuts and shit like that. Put them back in the closet. Yeah, we've had enough of that. Like, bring back fucking hot blondes and titties. That's what America wants. Okay.
Right. And, on this situation, dude, I got to, the only time probably you're bringing up Tim, I got to agree with old fucking Alad, man. This is, she's got zero but absolute smoke show.
I
But,
agree. I agree.
just almost solely based off titties and face.
Right. Apparently that's how you sell jeans.
Yep.
Fuck it worked, man. Like I say,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
we're bringing it back, America. Don't worry, you guys. Fucking, you all
You
thought
did
we
it.
were fucking down and out, over there, fucking, gay pride parades and shit like that. But no, we're bringing it back. Dude, gay pride fucking month. Where was it? Other than the fucking liberal cities, right? Other than the fucking far left, fucking, California, New York, and shit like that.
They
But
spent their time on the phones trying to save funding. You know what I'm saying? Because
USAID got
that's
shut
what
down,
gay
man.
pride. Yeah, that's what gay
Right.
pride amounted to, was businesses pulling their funding.
Right. Yep.
We're not doing
Yeah.
this no more, dude. They didn't want to do it to begin with. We felt fucking, socially pressured, and so we're taking our money back.
Right. And we're actually seeing it fucking pay off too. I don't know how much, fucking people starting to turn away from woke in advertising and marketing and things like that is actually having an effect. But dude, the economy is even starting to turn back around. Of course, the leftists can't admit it, because if you ask them, we're headed straight toward a fucking cliff. These
Right.
tariffs and shit like that are gonna kill us all. We're all gonna be sleeping in cardboard boxes tomorrow. You watch. While the jobs report just came out, I haven't really gotten too much of a look at it at all. I haven't looked at it really at all. I've just kind of heard other people talk about it, but apparently it's a lot better than expected, man. Did you look into it at all?
I heard it was less than expected. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I heard that it was an estimate of 130, only came in at like 73. You know what I mean? So there's that. But then Trump just came out apparently and said that these are cooked numbers by Biden holdovers in the Labor Department, and he's ordered them to be fired immediately. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know what the fuck to believe. And then on top of that, you also hear these figures that foreign labor has gone down. Almost all the jobs that have been implemented or handed out during Trump's tenure thus far have been to Native Americans, Americans, and that there's 1.8 million fucking new American jobs since Trump took office, but the actual numbers that were released, high or low, don't come close to the fucking that number. Like you don't know
Well,
what's real.
Apparently, this is our first year coming up with a surplus since 2001.
Well, first month, not first year,
Okay.
first month.
Oh,
It
okay,
was
all
the
right,
month
all
of
right.
June. Yep.
All right, but I mean, still since 2001. So I mean, like I said,
Yeah.
ultimately, it's
But all those number again, that's fake though, bro. Like think about it. Like they do the same. They all, like especially leftists. They love to tote the. Well, Clinton fucking had a surplus, and the debt went up during his entire presidency. So like,
Mhm.
if how was there a surplus if the debt keeps rising, dude? Like there's no money. You know what I'm saying? Like like you don't know what to believe. Like every number the government puts out, dude, you have to question it or wait 60 to 90 days for the revised numbers to come out. Like
Right.
they try to put the real numbers out when no one's looking, if they ever do.
Right. But at the same time, if you always look at what direction they go, because every single time that the jobs report came out under the Biden administration, oh, lo and behold, a couple months later, oh, it's actually, we had to revise down. We had to revise that down. And oh, yeah,
Right.
sorry about that. But in terms of Donald Trump, I mean, ultimately, the whole reason for that is because they're trying to puff up fucking Joe Biden, make him look like, oh, look, Joe Biden did great during this report.
According to
Um,
Trump, they're doing the same thing to him right now. You know what I mean?
Where they're trying to make it look like he's doing great.
No, they're trying to make it look like he's doing bad.
Right.
Like,
That's what I'm
they're
saying.
changing the numbers in the
That's
opposite
what I'm saying.
direction.
So when the revisions come out, it's going to be a revision upward.
Hopefully,
which-
yeah. I
right.
mean,
That's what I'm saying. That's the
Yeah.
most likely case, in my opinion. Like I'm saying, if they're reporting that, when in terms of Joe Biden, that, oh, everything's on the up and up and up, and shit like that, I'm sure when it comes to Donald Trump, they're going to be reporting, oh, this is terrible, woe is us, but like I say, in terms of how that's going to be revised later on, dude, if it's revised upward for Donald Trump, like that's going to be major,
Right.
And of course,
Yeah.
ultimately, he is doing plenty on the economy. He's brought billion, of course, it's still promised, billions of investments back to the United States. He's bringing manufacturing back to the United States. He's imposing at minimum 10% tariffs on just about everybody around the world. He's balancing out the trade agreements. He's basically taking the gigantic global fucking peni out of the American taxpayers' anus. And so, I mean, it seems like it's going to be working out pretty good in that aspect,
Yeah, well, here it is right here 12 hours ago, dude. Fucking Trump fires person behind jobs numbers after they're revised down. That's hilarious, dude.
Oh, man. Wait, so they were revised down like immediately
Previous months.
after they
previous
were,
for previous months, like when they put out like a jobs report, it'll also be attached to the revisions from previous months.
okay.
You know what I mean? So they put out these shitty job numbers for this month, or July rather, and then also with the revision downward for the previous months. And Trump was like, "That's a Biden holdover. This is a sham. Fire everyone."
Democrat team, I tell you.
Right. I mean, and again, you don't know what to believe. I mean, obviously, fucking, we pushed hard for Trump, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. A big portion of that was just because of obviously you didn't want fucking the communists to, keep control and implement something with someone in control that's awake past fucking noon or whatever. You know what I mean? So, there's that, right? But obviously, again, we pushed Trump, so. You want the dude to be a stand-up guy, man. And don't get me wrong, we voted for him to fire people, but you can't fire people that are openly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't
Right.
make it like, oh, well, he spoke against me, so you're fired. Like, I mean, even if that is the case, like, you got to be a little more discreet about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the Epstein shit, if he would have just kept his fucking mouth closed, dude, people would have already, like, maybe not forgotten about it because it's a meme at this point, right? But it wouldn't be the talk against him that it currently is for the people that are still talking.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, the whole Epstein thing just brings up so many questions, man. Because I believe if anybody knows how to just shut up and not say anything, it'd be Dan Bongino, right? But nonetheless, he came out on, he killed himself. I've seen suicides before. This was definitely a suicide. Like,
You know what that could have been too? Maybe he didn't even know that question was going to be asked. Maybe they were like, whoa, like on the spot, like, this is not what we came here for, bruh. You know what I mean? But he's not Pelosi. You're not going to fucking, why are you asking me that? I didn't come here for that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They just had to play it off like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Like, put on the spot. What do you do? Because now you're not Dan Bongino. Now you're fucking, deputy FBI director.
You do what
know
fucking
I mean?
deputy FBI directors have been doing for generation after
Lie
generation
through
after
their
generation.
fucking teeth.
I can't comment on an open investigation right now. I can't make any statement on that.
Yeah, you're right.
I
You're
can't
right
make
with
a statement on that. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I can't talk about that right now. Like, dude, like,
But
this
at
is
the
fucking
same time,
FBI 101.
but at the same time, it's because he's asked that, I think, primarily due to the fact that, in his prior fucking work, he was Dan Bongino, the
Right.
talk show host, and he wrote a book about the shit and fucking,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, so there's, all that. And so that dude's in a position to find out information. Of course, people are going to ask those fucking questions. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so, like, he doesn't want to sell out, but he also doesn't want to fucking get murked or, destroy the current administration or whatever the case may be.
But I mean, still, dude, even just If they're like, oh, what happened with Epstein shit, you can be like, oh, I can't comment on an open investigation right now.
Right.
And fucking
I'm
America would be
not
like,
Bonhino, the podcaster. Right. Yeah.
everybody would have instantly got a fucking boner, and then
I think that's maybe.
don't worry,
he
it's
thought-
coming, it's coming.
I think, don't you think that was the reaction that he thought he was going to get with his post? I'm sure you saw his ex post with the "I'll never be the same after the
Yeah.
things that I've learned and since being put in this position and
Yep.
shit." Instead, that's become one of the newest memes as well. You know what I mean?
Well, what's been the meme about that one?
Just that it's it's like a joke, dude. Like, man, you're just talking like that's the memes are him looking weird, especially like how they do like the Charlie Kirk fucking memes where he's
Yeah.
got the huge forehead and shit like that. It's like that for Dan, comic status, and it's like I'll never be the same. As you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Right.
just it's a fucking meme at this point for all the people that are saying like Trump's covering up the Epstein shit. Or the Groypers or fucking, you know what I mean? So on. There's, plenty of groups right now that are fucking hating on the whole administration. You know what I mean?
There could be things that are far beyond our understanding. That you'd like,
Yeah.
he could have seen Donald Trump go, and then the lizard fucking
Right.
come out. And
He was like, I thought you were my friend, man. You're like, remember, you don't fucking fall in love with people, man.
right. He never does. Like, he just be like, I'll never be the same after. Like, holy
Right.
shit. Like, I
Right.
helped get that guy elected.
Right.
Yeah, he killed himself. Yeah, dude,
I
like
mean,
said,
the one thing that's
he
been
looked in
brought up,
distress, man.
right? And something that's been brought up for a while now, even before Trump, got back into office, with people like to throw up he's associated with Epstein, is and I know I have it saved in a file, you know what I mean? But where the paperwork that states that Trump was the only person with any kind of power and status that was willing to come forward and testify against Jeffrey Epstein in court, and fucking also the testimonies of some of the girls involved where they blatantly said like Trump never touched me, I never touched him, fucking, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's all this shit, and you think like I would put that shit out first. That would
Right.
have been part of phase one, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like this
That'd
could
have
have
been all
been
of
handled
phase one,
so
just
much better, man.
Everything that exonerates Donald Trump, phase one.
You're right. Yep. Phase one. And then phase two, here's all the holder fucking goddamn information that tries to implicate me.
Right?
And then phase three, here's the 100,000 plus pages with only victims' names redacted. So you can see that fucking, leftists and donors and royalty and all these cats are kid fuckers.
Right.
I mean,
And
really?
phase 4 is going to be an NFT of Bill Clinton in that blue dress.
right.
You're all going to want to get in on this.
Phase four is there's a fucking multiple plane crashes at the, you know what I mean? Same day where the entire fucking, cabinet and the president fucking just happened to be aboard, and that type
Right.
of shit.
Fucking Air Force One just had an engine failure. I don't know.
Suddenly, Trump wanted to take a ride in a convertible. I don't know.
Right. Just wanted to let the top back, He's feeling it. Yep. But all right, man. So yeah, Sydney Sweeney, titties are great. What's your thoughts
Yep.
on fucking Candace Owens, man? Candace Owens versus
I think she's spinning off,
Nicole.
right?
Yeah, I
when
think
you
so,
when you
too.
listen
She's
to her,
crashing out
right?
hard.
Yeah, like you listen to her, like I mean, and when you're just listening to her speak, dude, like she makes sense. I mean, she's articulate, she's intelligent, she's good at telling a story, basically. You know what I mean? But when you see her like on the inner zones, when trying to face off with cats that have as much or more skill, like Nick Fuentes, for instance, just absolutely decimates her and shows everyone that she's fucking freaking out, man. You know what I mean? By her replies and stuff.
Right.
But dude, what do you plan? What would this prove? Saying this shit, right? I mean, it's fucking hilarious. We've laughed about it a few times.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? It's funny shit, but other than that, like it's been years now. This thing's been going on, and it's like, what do you actually get out of it besides views and clicks, dog? And
Right.
the whole court thing, even more hilarious. Like you're not going to come to a country and sue someone that has, the country has free speech, and you're going to sue because they said, hey, I think you're a man. That's not defamation. Like that didn't
Right.
hurt you financially. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like your dude is the fucking president of France. Like that didn't hurt you financially, man. You
Right.
know what I mean?
And if that's the case, Big Mike's coming after all of us.
Right, exactly. But you know, I like Candace. She makes a lot of sense in other aspects and stuff. But in this particular fucking avenue, dude, she needs to just drop the shit, lay off. But she's not. She's gonna press forward and try to have disclosure in court and all this jazz. You know what I mean? I think it's just
Right.
just as I always say, man. There's so many on the right. They're just as cartoonish as people on the left. You know, libertarians, even what have you. There's so many aspects of the political landscape that is just like watching Mad TV or some shit.
Right. Yeah, I think she's crashing out a little bit. I think but at the same time, it's not like this is her first rodeo with crashing out. Maybe on this scale, perhaps, but I mean that really does kind of seem to be her thing. Is just kind of like grabbing the headlines and fucking just arguing with people fucking through videos for months and months and months. I mean, she's done it with Crowder. She's done it with several people. She's always seems to be having disputes and stuff like that. And of course, it keeps her relevant and gets her views, things like that. And whatever. I mean, it's cool and shit like that. But I think that might be a little bit of what's going on here. I think she's just like, well, fuck it. But at the same time, as you did mention, this has been kind of an ongoing thing for years and years and years. I think I do think it has kind of started out just kind of like just fucking around and shit. And I think she's just kind of let it get a little bit too far. And I think she's just
Yeah.
being a little bit of you could take the fucking black woman out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the black woman. You know what I mean? Like she's still just will not let go of shit. It's like, lady, I know you stole the fucking shit. It's right here in your hand. Like, I got steal shit. You just racist. I think she's still got a little bit of that buried in her, and it comes out
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah, I've been saying forever, dude. She's like a combination of fucking Anomaly and Charlie Kirk. She took their insufferable traits and combined it into one little black chick, dude.
Right. I think that's a bit what's going on right now. She's going a little bit nuts, but ultimately, yeah, I do think that she knows that she's safe as well too, because I don't think that she's gonna get actually ruled against in this hearing. I think a lot of it's just gonna be like, this is stupid. Get the fuck out of my court, please.
Yeah.
At least I would hope that would be the result.
I mean, they might let it go for a minute just for the show factor, dude, because it'll definitely fucking make the judge and everyone involved the fucking star and the tabloids for a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, you gotta think that this shit would be laughed out unless they're currently judge shopping like the previous admin and current Democrats.
Right.
You'll get it before
Which,
Boasberg.
does seem to be the thing to do.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Boasberg. What's been going on with that guy lately? I think I saw a headline with him recently, but I don't remember what it was about.
There's currently he's under like an ethics investigation, man. For corruption and a corruption of jurisprudence, man. You know what I mean? And supposedly he was trying to lecture and goad Supreme Court justices into siding with him, man, in a closed door situation. And of course, what the hell is the Chief Justice? What the fuck is his name, man? Roberts, dude, shitbag, right? Liberal, fuck, man. Claims to be a conservative, but just sides with liberals 9 times out of 10. He was apparently palling around with them. And of course, he tends to vote against Trump as well.
Yeah.
I mean, not here recently. Recently, Trump's had some wins in the Supreme Court, obviously. But at the same time, even those wins, they're almost like shackles because they're vague and they don't just cut to the chase in a lot of fucking aspects, man. You know what I mean? Especially like with the injunctions. Like you see, they weren't as forceful enough with it, and that's why you see judges still trying to get away with it. You know what I mean? And and that's another disappointment as far as that's concerned. The dude that took a bullet to the ear and jumped up and screamed "fight" doesn't have enough fucking nuts to say "fucking enforce your judgment, bitch. I'm the president." You know what I'm saying? For real, do something, bro. Send some marshals to the White House. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Shit, fucking send some people to go down there and pick up your fucking illegal immigrants. See what the fuck happens. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. And especially like stays on deportations. I mean, you've seen that fucking, we talked about last week, Abrego Garcia being ordered to fucking be released.
Right.
Supposedly they're saying as soon as he gets to Maryland, they're just going to fucking snatch him again and deport him. But if that's the case, why even fucking listen, man? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For real.
Right. It's like, fucking, hey, man, just fucking send ICE down to go pick them up from the fucking place. You know, you don't even got to
Yeah.
do all that. You guys are
Yeah,
the
the
federal
Supreme
fucking
Court-
government. You know?
Right. The Supreme Court's already ruled that these fucking little circuit judges don't have the power. Just again, they have to be more forceful with it. They need to make it clear cut, dude. Fuck all the trying to sound articulate and just put it in clear fucking plain English so everyone in this bitch, including the lowest denominators, understand that that power does not exist. You know what I mean?
Right. Shit, no, it'd be fucking cool if they'd release this too, man. Who was Ray Epps really?
Right.
Right.
That's another
right?
thing. According to a Freedom of Information Act, Pelosi's phone records show that she had multiple phone calls in the week leading up to January 6th with Ray Epps, dude.
Really?
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Right here. Freedom of Information Act requests show a dozen phone calls between the cell phone of Ray Epps and the office of Speaker Pelosi in the week before January 6th. And
Wow.
that was just hours ago that was dropped, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's fucking nuts, man.
Right. That's what I mean. And that's the main reason that you're realizing that the shit we've been saying, it's just instituted the fact that we were right as far as, they were just trying to hide their shit. It wasn't necessarily they were against Trump. They were against populism and the idea of people having the power to find out the shit that they've been doing with our money and, the responsibility of caretaking our fucking federal government.
Well, do you think it's really just perhaps what Trump's going for is vindication then retribution?
I mean, you hope he's playing the long game, man, and we're just being fucking, Americans, instant gratification.
It's been
impatient
6
fuck.
months. How come this fucking place hasn't been burned
Right.
down?
Right, exactly, dude. Like the fucking China cabinet should have already been kicked over, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I mean, you hope that that's the case, and that there's at least a 3D chess in the man left, right? And he's gonna fucking totally redeem himself by the end of his fucking term. You know what I mean? And these disappointments were just, we really aren't MAGA enough, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, you just got to have faith, man, playing the game. But,
Right.
it's hard to rectify that when, you have the first administration, and like we said out earlier, he was hamstrung with the whole Russian bullshit and all that jazz. But now again, and this is why I say they weren't really against Trump, they were against us finding out information, because you see Trump again is a mild dude. He's not really fucking coming in with the iron fist that we kept saying, fuck, let us get the Trump the left think he's going to be. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, there's still a possibility, dude. If he doesn't, like I say, if he doesn't fumble the ball and get fucking impeached and fucking neutered and shit by his after the midterms, dude, like I think that might be his thing, is fucking. Or I mean, I guess even if he isn't fucking neutered, if he's all right, so maybe that's his thing. He has the fucking the House and the Senate right now. Of course, they're pretty much fucking worthless. They're not doing shit, but nonetheless, I think that's kind of his focus right now, is repair some shit. And then his second, or after the midterms, even if he does end up fucking up some shit and ends up getting either one, impeached, or fucking two just not able to have control of the legislature to get anything passed. Well, one thing he does got is his fucking DOJ still. And as you saw, Joe Biden definitely put that DOJ to good use during the second half of his presidency. Maybe he's planning on doing that as well, too,
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to get rid of Pam Bondi to fucking do,
exactly.
to
Yeah,
really
you
put
definitely
that
got to
into
do
force.
that.
Yeah,
That's step one.
and if you remember, there was a way, like a recess appointment, that he could have installed Matt Gaetz for at least a temporary basis if he really wanted to when he was coming into office. And there's always that hope that he could get rid of Bondi and do the same, not necessarily with Gaetz, but someone of that caliber that's just going to come in and not give a fuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. And I mean, you see Gates. I mean, that dude really does not give a fuck. I mean, even at this point now, he's speaking out against Israel and shit, which you almost never hear fucking Republicans do. That's not named fucking MTG or Massey. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And just on his news show the other night, he's basically saying like these motherfuckers they're killing Christians. You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
dude, that's fucking sacrilegious to say some shit like that if you're a Republican, dude. You know what I mean? Because they really blow the fucking Israeli dick, dude. The vast majority of all political fucking figures do, but not to the extent.
Right. Well, we are coming upon the dawn of a new world order.
Right, you're letting the noticing fucking continue,
World
man.
order.
Right. Yeah, that's why I said earlier when I was saying our real greatest ally is Japan, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like you look at the record of Israel and almost no conflicts, even ones that they goad us into, that they dedicate money and troops to. You know what I
I'd
mean?
say geologically, they're probably our best strategic ally, even, as opposed to Israel. I mean, of course, Israel's our fucking man in the Middle East, whatever, but the fuck does the Middle East have to do with us other than our gas station, which nonetheless,
and even that
we have oil reserve. If we have places we could go fucking pump our own shit, we don't need the Middle East,
plus like
Um,
and even if you want the Middle East, you want the Saudis, man. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right. The fuck you need Israel for. And I think
Right.
ultimately it is just this, again, what I would say is a misinterpreted spiritual understanding of the meaning of Israel and this whole dispensationalist, worldview that basically says that Israel will rise again, brother, Zion, um, and yet, I think that's the why we're holding on so dearly to Israel must stand, which again, I don't want Israel to fall. I don't want again, in terms of the Middle East, Israel is probably the least shitholey of all the shithole gas stations around there. You know what I mean? But ultimately, as we say quite often, if you can't stand on your own, you should probably fall then,
The UAE is where it's really at as far as that's concerned. Well, that's like
Right.
fucking, Arab utopia and whatnot. You know what I mean? But I have no love for them fools.
They're
like
fucking
you
their
said.
sand turbines up
Right.
those places and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, dude. But
Yeah.
I mean, I like Israel as a country, right? I mean, there's regular people there, but at the same time, or like the videos you see that come out of there, you question even that. But of course, you don't want some mass death happening. But I believe with right now they could probably protect themselves for an extended period, but without us, it would only be a period of time. I think, man.
Yeah. Yep. Ultimately, yeah, Japan would be a much better ally.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're
They're
gonna
always back us.
if we're gonna defend a little brother anywhere, it should be Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and even
fucking-
Taiwan is strictly an economical fucking asset. You know what I mean? Like the whole like we're gonna protect Taiwan is like I mean it's just because of fucking microchips and different goods, man. That's all
Right.
it really is.
Ultimately, I'd say if anybody has any sort of strategic interest in the Middle East, it'd be Europe. Europe, you got to get on that shit. If you want fucking to defend Israel, you go ahead and defend Israel. That'll be your Middle Eastern fucking home front.
Right. I mean it'd be like Eastern Europe maybe because Western Europe they're all good with Palestinians, dude. They're fucking like the UK and France and shit. They're all part of the caliphate at this point.
Right. Well, then in which case it'd be within their best interest to just let Israel go by the wayside, and then they just pick up the pieces with Palestine.
Mm.
Yep. I mean, fuck it, dude. Ultimately, the goal is peace.
Yeah, it's peace, but there's a 2% of the world's population that don't want that, man. And I'm speaking of a particular one. And like I was saying, dude, you don't want mass killing. Or I'm not like on here like fuck, Israel's blow it out. Like, it's nothing like that. But at the same time, that's the farthest thing from allies, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, I mean, all
really
they
not.
try to do is goad us into wars, man. That's
Yep.
legit. All they do.
They've been pretty successful over the past 80 years.
Right. Yeah, they've been real successful at stealing fucking, plutonium and, nuclear secrets and, so on and so on. And the Jew board over at Nobel just gives them fucking prizes for, bringing out their stolen fucking intellectual properties and whatnot.
Right.
Really doing it.
Bragging about shit that we fucking built and funded and shit like that.
Yep.
Your domes and shit, Like,
Mhm.
that fucking shit would be done and over with fucking years ago if it wasn't for us,
Yeah. Yep. Like I said, right now they're pretty rich, dude. They can take care of themselves for an extended period, but it's only a matter of time, man. You know what I mean? And here,
Yeah.
I believe that America's support, as the older generations fucking die out, people that were, brainwashed into the whole fucking it's God's chosen people's that the support here is going to dissipate quickly.
Ultimately, too, what they, the side effect that they do end up having here within the United States is they really do kind of drive these young, impressionable fucking morons into the arms of fucking Islam, That's
Yeah,
why we have all these
fucking OnlyFans and fucking Pornhub,
Right. Well, I mean, I think American fucking life does that just as easily as anything else.
But everything that pushes it, like the Pornhub, fucking,
Mhm.
all these different things, OnlyFans, it's all fucking Jewish owned, bro. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
For real.
Yep. I don't know. I still think just fucking in terms of Israel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But again,
Anyway.
like Tucker, I mean, there's a difference between the Israel government and like Israeli people, man. And
Right.
the government at this point holds so much political and social sway that most people don't even realize. And if you point it out, you're fucking crazy and an anti-whoop-de-woo.
Right.
You know what I mean? Meanwhile, they literally have a foreign entity that stays in this country that spends millions of dollars a year to try to get you fucking censored. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, yep, not good times.
Isn't that a good thing?
Spinning off, we're making it a Groiper channel now, man.
Right. So anyway, let's get into some violence, man. Fucking so this week's been pretty nuts, man. Lives lost, of course, horrible stuff, but yeah, dude, it's been a pretty crazy month in terms of violence here in the United States, of course. I don't remember what the first one was, but early in the week there was there was a violent 11 people were stabbed at Walmart in what is that, in Michigan, right? Yes, in Traverse City,
Yep,
Michigan.
Traverse City, yep.
Yep.
And that's like an upper class area where not, it's like Mayberry. Like shit doesn't happen there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you also had the New York City attack where you heard people, I'm pretty sure it was the M4 machine gun. Pretty sure I heard it firing full autos, and of course it was a regular AR-15. Matter of fact, probably one of the most least expensive AR-15s that one could purchase. It was a Palmetto State Armory, but nonetheless, I don't remember how many people. I think it was like 4 that you got at the New York City one.
Yeah, I believe so. But I mean, did all of them pass, or
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't followed that one too closely. Of course,
it's almost like a fucking every other day occurrence. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
like
Right.
fuck, man.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know.
nonstop.
I guess the interesting stuff about that one was the one of the people that was killed was an employee of Blackstone, which of course is Israeli, again connected. And then there's some connection to the NFL. Apparently, the dude had a fucking note in his pocket saying he had CTE and study my brain and all this kind of fucking shit.
That you can't fight the NFL. That's
Right?
what it said.
You can't fight the NFL.
Yeah.
Apparently he's never been associated with the NFL, according to the NFL. Of course, he's never even been associated with college football. He played football in high school. That's about it. It's about as far as they got on him. And yeah, so there's that one. There's also a white couple, or a couple of white people actually, that were viciously beaten in Cincinnati over during this week. There's also a GOP councilman that was set on fire in Virginia. Yeah, just a whole bunch of shit, man. I don't know, which one you want to start with?
I mean, the couple, of course, that's the hotter of the topics. I'd have to say, man. You know, because that
Right.
one's so big, not only because of the event, dude, itself, but because of the repercussions and the after effects of you know supposedly elected officials and police officers.
Yeah, yeah. The fucking police chief, that was probably one of the most frustrating ones. So of course, I'm sure you guys have all seen the video, right? So we're starting to get a couple more angles of it, because of course the one thing that the police chief did point out was 100 people had recorded the video, but only one person called the police. So of course this is what you're seeing take place. Like I said, it was more than one white guy, as you see there. There's a couple white guys being beaten on the floor. Of course, the one that everyone was talking about was the woman that ends up getting just completely rocked and just laid out on the floor. So apparently she was from Russia. Weird connection there. But nonetheless, I believe she's probably gonna get out of here. She's like, yeah, I don't like America. But yeah, so this was the scene that you guys all saw, right? Well, maybe not this one. I think this is a different angle, but nonetheless, more or less, this event taking place is what you guys all saw.
Yeah, and that little fucking meme thing I just
Let's
sent you
see.
there, man, was also a councilwoman from the.
So this one. Wait, what up?
That little meme thing I just sent you was also a councilwoman there from the area, like saying that they begged for it, and she's happy about the whole thing, man. And then, like, if you listen to Matt Walsh, the whole thing, like, he covered it pretty in depth and talked for years, saying how this is a whole setup where these black people in this whole area here, they boycott white businesses during this fest and try to only shop at black joints. And there's a whole bunch of bars that decided, like, okay, we're going to be boycotted, so we'll go ahead and do repairs or not open. Now they're trying to charge them with fucking racist business tactics, and you know what I mean? Like, this is a whole big
Yeah.
hot mess that you're just seeing some of the repercussions of.
Yep, yeah, dude, absolutely disgraceful stuff, So of course, the stuff that's been coming out lately is that apparently there were some words. This I guess originally started out as a feud between two people, and of course, you know that's never how it goes. Whenever there's when the Blixes are involved, and of course when they're involved in a large grouping sort of event. This is what tends to happen. And let me see, switch back over to this one. And yeah, so apparently, like I said, there was some words exchanged. Apparently a car was hit or something like that. Apparently it was something between two people that escalated into black people just beating up every single white person that they could see. So there's I think been 3 or 4 people charged in this so far. And yeah, they're all basically trying to paint themselves as completely innocent. We were provoked and all this and that. Of course, it's what you expect. But yeah, ultimately, just somebody kicks your car and you stomp their head in. I can understand, a lot of people do agree with that logic, but I mean, legally, it's a drastic escalation. So
Absolutely, man. And apparently one of the one of the dudes has been let out on bail, $400 bail. And the defense that's being used is that he was basically the victim being overserved by the bartender.
oh man, they try to spin this on the bartender now.
Yep.
All right, they fucking bring everybody down, fucking crabs in a pot, man. But I believe this is the video with the police chief. This was like the next day or something. This got a lot of people pretty angry. You.
No sound, dude.
You don't got any sound?
Nope.
Yeah, let me try and reload the page.
Social media and journalism,
You got
and
anything?
the role it plays
Yep.
in this incident. And yet, guys, that's you. That is you.
It's you guys.
Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating the activity
In what
And-
way?
in the law.
Right.
Because what happens, that social media post and your coverage of it distorts the content of what actually happened.
That's why it's your responsibility to
And
pull
it
out the
makes our
information and
job more
rectify it.
difficult.
Right.
'Cause we
You're
can't
making
lead
our
the
jobs
narrative, man.
difficult. Right. Yep. If we can't get out ahead of this, how are we gonna, report the well, basically, as you said, the narrative. I don't know where I was going with all that.
Man, I gotta say, dude, there's a rash of videos that you see where there's these instances of violence and different types of protests and whatnot, and it's always the people that are being interviewed, the ones that are supposedly in charge, are fucking women. You call this fucked up, misogynistic, whatever, but these are just case studies in the fact that these chicks shouldn't hold these fucking positions of power, man. They come
Right.
up with the stupidest deductions possible. They victim blame. They fucking and they go into the nanny fucking a brain shift as far as like they start to feel sorry for the perpetrators and let them out on reduced bails and bonds and fucking what I mean. Like in California, refuse to press charges and you have like the whole council's all women and homosexuals and fucking what I mean. Like again, call it what you will. I could give two shits at this point what names you fling. Right, but these people shouldn't hold positions of power. I give a fuck, man.
Right. I agree, man. Yeah, absolutely useless. So freaking who let Meg in here?
Right.
Right.
And again, there's exceptions to everything, man. All right, to every fucking possible scheme you could come up with, there's some type of exception, right? But we're talking on a mass scale. Fuck, dude, abolish the 19th, bro.
Right. Let's get radical.
Right, man. I mean, dude, they want to scream fascism. Let's use a little fascism and get things back in line, man.
Right.
Fuck it. You're going to be called it anyway. Go ahead, melt down. We're going to fix shit while you're doing it.
Let's get a little bit of order around here.
Right. Especially white women. This is a group of fucking people that have pretty much been coddled for fucking generations. People that have never had to deal with any kind of actual physical violence or social strife unless they purposely put themselves in it. You know what I'm saying? And now you expect them to take over and fucking handle things with a clear head and deduce fucking reality instead of, rainbow fucking lollipop bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys are making our job harder by putting out a video of the fucking repercussions of someone saying a word that hurts some feelings.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that doesn't impact your investigation at all. It's your responsibility to rectify anything that would be considered mis or disinformation with the results of a fucking thorough investigation. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
in this case, regardless of what was said or someone kicking a car, it like regardless of any kind of mind frame, doesn't fucking justify blowing some fucking chick shit out in the street. And it was obviously the video was a dude that did that shit. You know what I
Right.
mean? It wasn't like them chicks beat her or nothing like that. A fucking bitch ass fucking niglet ran up and sucker punched her. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep. And ultimately, the way that I see it, or all that I actually see in terms of the aftermath, now that they're getting arrested, things like that, is ultimately they're just indicting themselves by admitting to the fact that, oh, well, yes, this happened because he did this and called us this, right? And then so in turn we did what you see in the video. You basically just admitted to it. Like that's all that I see is you just like sunk your own ship. Like you just like, yes, he assaulted my car, and so in protection of my property, I escalated the use of violence up to the point of deadly force by hitting him on the ground and stomping on his head. And several other people around that just so happened to be the same skin color as him, we did the same thing to. Yeah, you just pretty much wrapped yourself up for attempted murder.
Yeah. And I mean, dude, as usual, like, I mean, things that have been used against anyone that's, again, right of Stalin never gets used on the other side, even when, quote unquote, we hold the power to do so. Like, where's the hate crime charges, man? Because
Right.
if the races were reversed, you would hear this nonstop, and they would be being charged with hate crimes. They'd be facing multiple decades in prison.
Yep. Yeah, it'd be fucking all over everything for the next fucking year,
Yeah.
It'd be George Floyd 2.0.
Yep, you'd have every race baiter out there, fucking charlatan, Al
Riots in the
Charlatan.
streets.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be all bad, man. Yeah, most definitely. And that's why we only see the violence coming from one side. And oftentimes when it comes to, just random acts of violence or gang violence or basically animalistic style violence, it's always from one race. Always from one race, And
the vast majority of the time, like you said, there's exceptions, right? There's those
of course.
white cats that identify with that shit and put themselves in the middle of it. But again, on a mass scale, 100% correct, man.
Right. So somehow I'm sure there is gangs in like Montana and shit. I guarantee you it's not like they're a bunch of black gangs. I'm pretty sure it's just a bunch of fucking white people LARPing around, fucking pretending to be Bloods and Crips, yo.
Right.
But yeah, nonetheless, it's that black culture has gotten fucking deep within the American youth. So yeah, I mean, there's basically people that have adopted that mentality of all races. So I mean, just to say that it's always one race, a little bit off, but it's predominantly one race.
Statistics prove, man. You know what I mean? And you drop those statistics, it's your racism. So they never try to argue the fact. You know what I mean? And when they do, they'll look at sheer numbers rather than per capita. And of course, whites, for instance, outnumber blacks, 3-1 or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, of course, the statistics, if you're going to go by raw numbers, are going to be skewed. But we're talking per capita. If you're fucking sub 80 can comprehend that. You know what I'm saying? Like, statistically, you're way more fucking amped to commit a crime or a violent offense, man. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I pray for a world where we could finally actually admit that and, actually do things to rectify it rather than just trying to put a Band-Aid over it and pretend the problem doesn't exist.
Rather than just giving it food stamps in Section 8, man, and calling everybody racisms.
Yep. That'd be nice, when you could actually call a spade,
Right.
Believe we once lived that way. Days since past. Yeah, now people are stabbing each other in the local Walmart. So yeah, I'll be honest with you, man. Of course, this one's actually the most tragic out of all of them. Of course, the white couple got beaten. We got the GOP councilman that was set on fire, but of course that one wasn't even necessarily related. I mean, that's that one guy, and I guess it wasn't really too related. We'll get into that one in a little bit, but 11 people got stabbed at this Walmart in Michigan, and you probably heard the least about this one, and that is for a very specific reason, and that reason is right here. Actually, there we go. All right, there we go. Yeah, that reason is right here. So this is how he was stopped. All right, so yeah, we're definitely gonna get age restriction on this one, but nonetheless, that's a civilian right there with a pistol, otherwise known as the mythical unicorn-like status of the good guy with a gun. Nonetheless, every mass shooting and mass stabbings is stopped by a good guy with a gun, but nonetheless, yeah, this is a private citizen, and so of course they don't want to tell you that. And of course, if you read about it in the newspapers and anything like that, you wouldn't even know that this is what took place. The only reason that we actually know that this is the way that it actually went down, because in the local news they're saying that civilians, intervened, that he was stopped by a civilian. That's it. That's all that you would know, right? And you'd be lucky to even know that he was stopped by a civilian. A lot of them were just saying that he was stopped with the assistance of civilians, right? But yeah, ultimately, this is how he was stopped. This is how he was stopped. Of course, he did stab 11 people, all right? But ultimately, this is how they finally stopped him, was with a civilian who happened to have a gun and went and stopped the threat. He didn't actually even kill the guy, right? He didn't even kill the guy. He held him at gunpoint. This is a gun, right? So, who deserves the Presidential Medal of Freedom? Mr. Perry, who was armed, risked his life to save others from a deranged knife-wielding psycho who went on a mass stabbing spree at Walmart. So, yeah, that dude, he saved lives. You know, he saved lives, and of course, we've said it multiple times on this show. I recommend everybody should have a gun. Everybody should fucking have a gun. Everybody should have their own gun. Everybody should know how to use their gun. Everybody should be, practicing. Everybody should be training. You should be decently proficient, at least enough to make sure that you're protected in case anything goes down. Because of course, the times that we're living in are definitely, we're going to see more of this. Of course, like we said, this is just this week. We have mass stabbing, we have mass shootings, we have politicians set on fire, we have white people getting beaten down in the streets, and like
Black
I said,
politicians celebrating it.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, like I said, this is going
this
nowhere.
one.
So
Yeah, and like this one, you're not seeing it, like you said, because of how it was stopped, which is pretty amazing because Michigan's a leftist fucking shit stack at this point, and gets more insane by the day. And the gun laws are not very fucking user friendly there, right? And then the other one,
I
like
believe
the
this
shooting,
guy has a security background.
and then the mass shooting at Blackstone, you're not hearing as much about it because the media made complete asses of themselves. And as soon as it was fucking come out that it was happening, they all jumped on the possibly white. We think he's white, and it was a straight up fucking
Possibly
like
white
Asian
guy.
black dude mixed. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the furthest thing from a white dude.
Right.
You know what I mean? It didn't fit their agenda. They were just hoping it did. It didn't, so they dropped that one too.
All right, let me see.
But she did describe.
Let me see if I'm trying to see if I can find the possibly white video.
Passably.
Offers at any given time.
Director as well. And Andy, I just want to ask you talk about a 44-story building, as Brian is reporting. And what John Miller just said, there were a few things that really stood out there. Among them that they do know what he looks like. Sunglasses, mustache, male, possibly white. And that they were all already
possibly
able
white.
to identify various parts of the building they think he is right now. So we're able to move that quickly. And John said they're focused on various floors in the upper parts of the building. Now we don't know his status right now, if that's going to end up being where he is, but they have moved incredibly quickly.
They really have. And, let's be honest, this is the largest, best trained, best
Offers at any.
There's a little bit of a screw up right there. Let me go ahead and share this one. So yeah, New York City gunman ID'd as Shane Tamura after deadly shooting that killed an NYPD officer, labeled as possibly white. Right, so I don't know if you guys could tell, but this guy is actually not a white guy, right? He's
He looks
actually
Asian and black.
yeah, a person of color, right? It's fucking Tiger Woods, basically. Right. So yeah, that again, people died, condolences to, families, all that stuff. But I mean, nonetheless, the fumble that the mainstream media had on this one, dude, it was epic. Of course, it's what you expect from them. Of course, the first thing that takes place, and it's really kind of a both sides thing whenever these sorts of attacks happen, is what color was he? Like, fucking, what was his background? Like, what did he believe in? And of course, obviously, they're the obvious questions to ask. If you're not asking those types of questions, you're probably just not too concerned about it, I suppose. Either that, or you're just I don't know, fucking too good for this world. You only care about people, and you don't want to judge anybody by anything. You don't want to try and fucking make any sort of assumptions. Like, you just
But
worry about the
now
people who
that's
lost their
racism,
lives.
though.
Right,
Not
right.
seeing race is now racisms, dude. That now they're on the fucking. You're either anti-racist or you're racist, man.
Right. You either hate white or you're racist. Yep. So yeah, male, possibly white. Yeah,
White.
white. Yes. Again, yeah, you hate to see violence, but I mean, ultimately, it's becoming pretty regular in the United States. Again, I'll restate: if you live in a place where you're able to get a gun, get yourself a gun, learn how to use it, keep it on you. If you don't live in a place where you're currently able to gun, leave. Come to a different fucking state,
Yeah.
Right? Because yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a lot of the places where this stuff goes down is leftist fucking hellholes, and that's for a reason. Of course, the thing that they like to point out with this guy is, of course, he had a concealed carry permit. He got, out of Nevada. He purchased his firearm in Nevada and brought it all the way to New York, so that way he could commit a mass murder. And so therefore, we need to ban guns in Nevada just as well as New York. That's their logic there. At least that was their logic for about like 2 seconds. I really think that I think they've hit their limit on the whole gun grabbing immediately after a shooting. It's because they get made fun of every time they do it, but still, nonetheless, people still do it. And just AR-15 style assault machine rifle, semi-auto full rifles.
Right.
Had a 30 caliber bore. Oh fuck!
It had a double clip, and it could shoot your insides out of your back, disintegrate your spleen,
blow the lungs. Yeah.
You got stuck there?
You still got me?
Yeah.
Okay.
We switched sides.
Yeah, I don't know why my internet refreshed real quick all of a sudden on its own.
It needed it, I think, because it was skipping out there. I don't know if you even heard me when I was like, "Yo, dude, refresh, son." It was like, and then all of a sudden you kicked back in and you were in fast forward for like 15 seconds.
Oh shit!
Sounded like Ben Shapiro talking there for a minute.
Right.
Hey guys.
about to shill out for Israel for a minute.
All right. Hey gang, look at my new yarmulke.
Right.
Yep, dude. Yeah,
So,
but it's another week of fucking leftist violence, dude.
Right. So tell us a little bit about the GOP councilman, because that's the one I probably know the least about in terms of all the violence that took place this week.
Well, apparently this dude burst into his office, right? They haven't released much except for the old Shotzi Hayes is the name of, the perpetrator. And he burst in this Virginia city councilman's office, proceeded to chase him out of the building, and then douse him in gas and set his ass on fire. The police are saying that it has no political motive, that they believe it to be personal. But I think that they're going to run with that because the last thing they want to do is continue the inflammation that's going on with violent acts and threats against sitting congressmen and senators and judges and so on, man. And we know that it's only coming from one side, regardless of the fucking, the Trump shooter was the registered Republicans. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, come on, dude. That's the best way to support your candidate and help get him elected. Just shoot him in the fucking head, dude. We all know that,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's been
Manipulation
a
101.
yeah, this just again, I mean, to me, it just continues, the acts of political violence that old Rutgerd Lynch fucking predicted previously. I don't think it's going to come anywhere near that number, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's happening around you. This is like soft civil war, and obviously they don't want you to know that,
Right. Well, I mean, as long as it stays soft civil war, I think ultimately we're going to end up winning in the long run. Because I mean, a lot of people like I don't know. I mean, people.
It
a lot of
depends.
the-
It all depends on politics, dude. Because all it's going to take is for fucking the Democrats to take back the White House in 2028, and you'll be kicked back off the inner zones.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I mean, even the Democrats are waking up and smelling the coffee. If they want to win anything in 2026 or 2028, they have to change their platform because the far leftist platform that they've been basically, shoving down people's throats of trans and all this fucking communism and shit like that. It's really kind of backfiring on them. Of course, there's places like New York and stuff that are just strongholds that they'll elect an actual open communist. But I mean, ultimately, in terms of the broader country, it's really becoming much more unpopular, and the far leftism is becoming much more of a repellent than anything. So I think ultimately, if the Democrats want to take back power, they have to change their platform. But nonetheless, I think as long as it stays a soft, quiet sort of a civil unrest, with scuffles here and there, I think ultimately we'll end up winning out in the long run because of the fact that it's, as we said, it's the aggressor is always from one side. It's never conservatives just going out there and fucking attacking people and shit. It's always the far left. And so yeah, I think ultimately as long as we continue to I guess win the public, then ultimately we're going to end up coming out on top.
I think that's all the Dems have done for fucking decades is push left, and they don't stop. They don't change the platform. They just change the wording and the acronyms. You know
But
what
at
I'm
the same
saying? I
time,
mean,
they've never hit a brick wall like Donald Trump before.
right? But this is Trump's last hurrah. You know
But-
what I'm saying? And they
Well,
got nothing to worry about after that.
They've never hit a movement counter to their movement. They were the counterculture. They were the movement, the changing, the receding of the tide. That was them for quite some time. I think ultimately we're the new fucking hippies, bro. And so, like I said,
I think it was like that. It was like that with Reagan too. I mean, you got to remember he won 49 states, man. You know what I mean? Like it was, real similar. And then there, like the Empire Strikes Back was fucking Clinton. You know what I mean? Who ultimately signed NAFTA, and you could bring up a bunch of other shit, claim surpluses on the dime of Social Security and so on and so on. That just started the progression of our political and fucking financial downfall in this country. And like I said, they've never gone back on that. I mean, still to this day, they'll NAFTA, it wasn't necessarily bad. It was rolled out wrong, or we were misled, or what I mean. They never take fucking responsibility, and they just continue to do the same shit. You know what I mean? And even
Right.
like the DEI, like Trump, putting out these executive orders and whatnot, like people are saying, even the Sweeney shit, like DEI is dead. They're still doing it, just like one of the newer O'Keefe media videos come out and showed you where, they're explaining in detail, like, we're still implementing DEI. We're just giving people different titles and putting them in different departments that have no affiliation with, the meaning of that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's all still happening around you. And,
Right. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier too. I mean, I think that the people that crave power, they don't care whether they're running a fascist government or whether they're running a communist government. And I think, like I say, ultimately that's where they're trying to get it to. And so that's why I say, in terms of the culture, now, yeah, we could win back the culture, but I think in terms of, the systems of control, all of the different things that they've implemented themselves, I think that's pretty much here to stay. But I think that they're just going to try and change their angle so that way the culture will agree with them. Basically, you want fucking happy slaves. That's
Yeah.
their goal.
That's what I just said. It's just changing acronyms and fucking,
Right.
Changing the fucking wording. It's all it is, man. You know what I
Right.
mean? Political
Yeah.
theater, as always. It's the continuous push left, and the Republicans are in on that just as well. Like even if they're not, passing, the bills and
That's what I'm saying is-
edicts themselves, they don't stand in the way. Just like Johnson's brought forth something like 22 Democrat bills at this point and like 3
But
Trump
that's what I'm
bills.
saying, though, is
So-
it doesn't always have to be the push left, even if it's the push right. Like I said, basically all it is the people that want power, they don't care if they're running a left-wing authoritarian government or a right-wing authoritarian government. They just want to run the authoritarian government. And ultimately, I think what it really kind of boils down to is the difference between what they're pushing towards and a sort of libertarian view on things. And ultimately, in terms of left, right, libertarian view is really kind of the minority. And so ultimately, yes, I think that our government's going to continue moving forward in terms of control. But I mean, I think ultimately they're going to start to move in a different direction. Like I say, move toward a different view rather than moving toward everybody's just equals and loves. I think they're going to start moving toward, hey, everybody, look at these titties and fucking American Eagles and fucking soaring jets and shit like that. And I think that's basically, like I say, they're going to move it into a different direction, or a different, like I say, different worldview, or a different generation, I suppose, But ultimately, yeah, I think our government is going to continue to move in the same sort of direction of increasing its power time and time again.
Yep, because in reality, everyone loves fascism as long as they're the ones wielding it against their
Right.
political opponents. You know what I mean?
Yep. I think we're in 1984, man.
It's the Venn diagram, man. It's 1984 and fucking, Fahrenheit and fucking
Right.
Brave New World, man.
Yep. All the
Except for they
dystopians
took
that
the
you thought it
Soma
was
away.
going to be. Right. Now we got weed, bro. Speaking of which.
Right. But like I was just having a discussion yesterday, with an older person that, is facing some medical issues and stuff, and saying how now that they, the government's gone too far the opposite direction, that people that actually need something for, verifiable, obvious pain, they're just like, sorry's can't do it. You know
Right.
what I mean? Meanwhile, 100,000 people a year are fucking overdosing on fentanyl, but
Yeah.
you as a fucking adult can't go in there and get.
Have you
prescribed
considered
something
going
for
to the
your current
streets?
medical condition? Right.
Have you
Go do
considered
some
going to the
fent,
streets
man.
for your medical supplies?
Yeah. You got a broken leg, or the best one, a chick had a cesarean, and obviously, I don't know if you've ever watched that take place, but they're moving nuts and whatnot, right? And they sew this chick up, and they're like, take Tylenol about it. You know what I mean? Like the fucking, and that chick got lucky. Her dude's an attorney, and lost his shit, and had to threaten litigation to get his fucking wife some pain medication. But yeah, it's to that extent, pretty
That's
ridiculous,
fucking nuts.
right?
Yep. Fucking. That's what we say, man. It's the fucking medication and drugs and shit like that. It's the same thing like with guns, man. Leave it for a couple fucking people to fuck it up for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
A couple people, as in the politicians that gain control and fucking push anti-American fucking bullshit.
And the blacks.
Right. And the Blixes. But
Right.
the true American answer to the Blixes would be fucking get you some guns. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hold you down some firearms, boy.
You're right. Shit. Go shoot you some cans out back. Come on, let's go. All right, man. Anything else you want to throw in before we start to wrap it on up?
Damn good, dude. Fucking hope everyone enjoyed, man. Thanks for coming by, smoke with us, talk with us, bullshit, and you know, watch the world burn, dude.
All right. Appreciate y'all for stopping by. Don't forget to like this video, share this video out with your friends. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Yeah. Follow us on social media. Links in the description below. Yeah. Like, subscribe, share, and fuck off.